Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant. And if you threw a party, invited everyone you knew, you would see the biggest gift would be from me, and the card attached would say, thank you for being a friend.
Hey everybody, welcome to Thursday night here right now. We are now moving to our new regularly scheduled programming on Thursday night. We have moved to the Cosby. Oh, I can't say that either. Moved to a different slot this week. We're going up against some Thursday night football and doing our thing. But we're here. We're going to start doing the show on Thursdays. We're going to branch out, bring some more people on. Works better for pretty much everybody here. So we're good. And first, I'm going to introduce the guy over this way. How are you, DS?
I am great, thanks. Yeah, it's been forever since I've been on the show. I know I've missed a few, but yeah, my schedule's been a little different these days. So Thursday night works good. So yeah, it's exciting. I got a stack of show and tell books, and there's a lot of stuff going on in the comic world. So yeah, this is exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
And as somebody's organizing his little rack right there, how's your rack, Knights?
Feeling great. It's it's fun to pretend you're the comic shop that you wish you owned when you were like 12 or whatever.
Right.
You know.
Those are all the real deal books back there, though, aren't they?
I felt like doing a Silver Age inventory since you've been into that stuff for a bit now, and to celebrate your triumphant return.
Yes.
Awesome, thanks. Yeah,
I'll be moving back down to my office soon. The only reason I'm not in my office is
where the hell are you?
I'm in my work area right now, which is because I'm moving my office downstairs where I usually am, but I have to do the walls and everything else, so I painted some of the walls. So took everything down, painted it up, and got it right there. I saw the message from Guru. DS, I think I saw the message from Guru.
Yeah, he said he would pop in he had a little time he might pop in. So
okay, I sent him the link.
Sweet.
So that's it. Okay, so yeah, he's got a stack of books to show. So I'm going to give, we could continue to watch a little bit of a, angry comic book guy right now, not turning around. You got customers, dude.
Jeez. I don't put prices on my books. Sorry.
Yeah, you price them at the checkout. Wait till they bring them up, and then
we'll price on the books. I check to see where they are on eBay. One thing I did before we go over to DS is I'm sure you guys heard about George Perez. The pancreatic cancer is it's sad. I actually had a commission with him that was just officially canceled today, and I'm not upset about it. I understand. So,
yeah, I mean, he's a legend, and look, he's going out sort of on his own terms. And, I read the thing he sent out or tweeted or whatever. And yeah, good for him. I mean, he's going out like a man. He's just taking it in stride. And it looks like he said he wants to hug every fan that comes up to him at the last couple appearances he makes. And I mean, good for him. Nobody lives forever, and if you can go out sort of on your own terms like that as best as possible, a lot of respect for that.
Exactly.
We're all going to have to face the end at some point, so it's sad, but it is what it is.
I like that he wants to hug all the fans.
Yeah, I thought that was real cool,
and not just the women this time.
And I wouldn't hold it against him if he's like, this is what's going on with me. I don't have much longer. I'm getting off social media. I'm not doing any more appearances. Thanks, everyone. I'm just going to spend it quietly with family. Total respect for that, too. But he wants to see more fans, and he said he wants to hug each one of them. Yeah, that's awesome. Good for him. You can always tell when an artist values their fans and the ones that don't give a crap about them. And, clearly he's way at the top of that list. So, yeah, awesome.
Those of you that know, George drew my logo. Here's a picture with me with Mr. George Perez himself. with the logo on my shirt, and he was laughing at it because he remembers doing it. And
Nice.
so I've got a few Radar pieces from him. George was definitely a hugger. Very happy to see a Starfire that walked by. She was great. His wife makes all those shirts that he wears. His wife
Oh, yeah?
makes every one of them. Told me the whole story. Yeah, I was
And I
second
think his,
one time at a con for him.
his first professional work is in Astonishing Tales 25, which is the first appearance of Deathlock. I think that's the first Perez.
Check Creatures on the Loose 24. I have that signed by him.
Oh, yeah,
Work Creatures on the Loose.
might be.
I think it's Creatures on the Loose. I'll go check that. I have that downstairs. Also, I got him to sign his first Avengers cover on the 30-cent price variant. So that's one of my favorite signed.
What
books.
number is that?
150. So
I don't know if I have a single George Perez comic anymore, which makes me really sad.
let me see. Yeah, I've got I've got a lot of the Infinity stuff.
Oh yeah, Infinity Gauntlet.
And I have a lot of the DC stuff he did. You know, wife being.
I liked Crisis was one of my first exposures to him that I really liked.
Crisis.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good. Look, he's super detailed, and the pages that he drew, the panels, the pages, the covers, it's just filled with line work and images and figures, and there's so much depth to it, and it's like you can look at his art for so long and you don't get tired of it because there's so much to it. I always thought, when me and the wife go on vacations, we do puzzles a lot. And we'll get a new puzzle each time we go on vacation. And every night when we get back to the hotel, we work on the puzzle. And when you do puzzles, you get really involved in the artwork because you're scrutinizing every little inch, every little piece, and it sucks you into the artwork. It's so fun. And his stuff is like that to me. I get the same feeling when you look at Perez work because you can just look at each little inch and move around, and I get the same feeling from that. And as opposed to other artists I like Frank Miller. I really like Frank Miller, especially the early 80s stuff. But I mean, there's not much to look at, honestly. It takes 2 seconds and you got the whole page, and it's just a couple lines and it's slashing art, and I like it, but doesn't take much to soak in a Frank Miller piece, really.
Oh, nice.
He's only 55.
The first appearance at Deathlock, when was that?
73, I think, 1973 or 74. That's a 25 center, I think. Astonishing Tales 25.
Let me look that up here.
I heard he was only 55 now. Is that true?
No, he has to be older than that.
He's older than that.
Okay. Because I thought that was pretty young.
Yeah, he was working in art, working in comics in the 70s. That's 50 years ago. Yeah, I don't know. I think Astonishing
May 14th of 74.
Yeah, so it's a 25 center.
And let me see here. That's not a George Perez book. Sorry.
Yeah, it's his first work is in that, though.
Oh.
He's 67.
I think so. I mean, I could be wrong, but
It could be right. You could be right. His first paid work, according to his page. Oh, first published George Perez Marvel art is in there. Right. First book he was ever paid for was Creatures on the Loose. He did that as an amateur. There you go. Good job.
Okay, so yeah, it was, and that was.
They're right after each other,
Yeah, first George Perez work, last 2 pages. That's what the CGC notes say on it.
There you go.
Yeah, I thought so. So yeah,
very cool.
Well, yeah, good stuff. I've had, I don't collect really much bronze anymore just because of the market, but I really like bronze. I've had a lot of bronze books. I've had Perez stuff. I've had that Astonishing Tales 25 a couple times, and yeah, I like Perez stuff. I'm not willing to pay these prices for bronze right now, but I like bronze books, and I used to have tons of bronze coming in and out here all the time, like even up to last year. And then now you can't get bronze books. They're too expensive. I don't feel like messing with the prices on those because for me, as a Golden Age guy and who dabbles in silver too, as you guys know, bronze books seem very common to me. So I get very worried laying out cash for stuff that's common. And I don't care if card guys think that 2,500 9/8 on a census is not common. It's common. You're not in comics, you card guys. When you get to comics, I'm telling you, that is common. And then when you get into the bronze stuff, you've got thousands upon thousands of these high grades. It just doesn't have the rarity for me. It doesn't mean they're not good books. They're awesome, but I like to put my money in stuff that's more rare, either rare in grade or rare overall. And so that's just how I do it. But because of how I do it, I stay away from bronze mostly these days.
Yeah, that's a good point. I love my bronze. I mean, I look for just some things. I look for some cool. Like I like some certain Conan covers that Buscema did that were they're literally $10, $5 books. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's what I like, is finding those in the wild that are better than my copy at home or whatnot. And that's my Bronze Age passion, is Buscema stuff, and especially the Conans, and looking for the similarities between like his Frazetta homage stuff he did. So that's Conan's 96 and 97 are homages to Frazetta.
Hey, what's Perez's most valuable book?
That's a good question.
I would say maybe that bold the showcase, the one where first appearance of the Titans, a lot of the Teen Titans, Starfire, Ray, you know, maybe that one. He might have like a few variants or whatever that are worth a ton. That would suck, but
yeah, it's kind of weird that he doesn't have these like massive. You know, I always think of him as like like the DC John Byrne, kind of, because
could
draw
Claremont
anything. You know,
with Claremont being the Marv Wolfman. You know.
Yeah, I think Perez, like you, Mike, my first foray into Perez stuff, which at the time I didn't know it was Perez stuff.
Oh,
was
yeah.
Crisis, the DC Crisis stuff in the early 90s, I guess, probably 90 or 91. And that was,
like that shit.
I think it was 89 or something. But yeah, that was, you know, so that was stuff I enjoyed at the time, and that was perfect. He did a lot of stuff on. It's tough to pick out one thing of his, but I think he worked on like every single title. It seems like if you pick any title, you can pick out Perez work that he did on like Avengers or anything. I mean, I feel like he did a lot of stuff, and all of it's super solid. But he doesn't have like those major home run hitter covers or works or anything.
Just the Teen Titans.
He's so much volume of work.
Yeah, what do you think, Jeff? What's the most valuable Perez comic?
Oh, geez.
And what was your first Perez comic?
What was my first Perez? It was probably a Teen Titans of some kind.
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Ours was a Crisis, or at least.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Mine was
DC
probably
the
Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you say, JD?
Mine was Infinity Gauntlet, probably.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's a good one to begin with. Hold on a second here.
Well, I'm sure he did other ones, but I remember that and saying, "Oh, George Perez did that cover."
And he did some really good Wonder Woman stuff too.
Yeah, he did a lot of good Wonder Woman. I like his Avengers work.
Yeah, he did good Avengers work. Yeah, I mean, I think he's one of those artists that just has so much.
Rubenstein used to work together a lot. So. And Marv Wolfman. All right, DS, let's see them books.
Yeah, so I pulled a stack of books out.
The craziness.
These are the books that I've bought since the last time I was on this show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So there's probably an equal stack that size that I've sold. So don't get too excited. But I'm just going to run through these as quick as possible. I just got this one today. This is interesting because this is the only one of these I own of a PGX. But whatever. It's a bronze horror book. I looked at it. It's a new PGX holder. I figured why not. I used eBay bucks. It's dirt cheap, but it's just a really cool. I think it's a Dominguez cover. Yeah, Luis Dominguez. Cool bronze horror I've been looking for.
Do you agree with the grade?
Yeah, I looked at it. I agree with it. It's got one tiny little spine tick, and on the back, on the top, it's got two little dents. Probably not going to show up. There's dirt on one of the dents, There's not a tear, and the corners are sharp. It's clean and nice. So yeah, I think it's a 9.4. Yeah, so I'm happy with it. But look, I figured I was buying a 9.2, and that's usually what I shoot for in bronze anyway. So yeah, I'm happy. It was cheap though. You know, I used eBay bucks, and it already wasn't that expensive.
Nice.
And then this is my favorite Journey into Mystery issue. When I got back into comics, I had a low grade, which I really enjoyed the story, the art. Just I love the book, and so I finally found Ada White Pager.
You half pointed me.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ada White Page. It's got a cool
7.5. Yeah. Oh, that's a cool pen stamp. Almost.
Yeah. So here's the deal. I think this was probably purchased on a military base or something and brought back.
The German base. Yeah.
Yeah, brought back to America. And after all these years and all the travels, it's an Ada White Pager, and it's a super cool copy.
In other words, a London base, probably. Yeah. It's got that cool fence on there. Yeah. That's nice. Yeah. I happen to. Yeah, I have. Mine's only a 7.5 now, but now I have to say, only because you have an 8 now.
Yeah, so Ada White Pager. Yeah, I was happy to get that. And then I picked this up recently. I'm not working on a run or anything. There's only a couple that I really would own. And this is way high on my list.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks.
That's no joke.
Yeah, it's one of the tougher ones to find. I think there's like 20 on the census, give or take. And a nice grade on it. And yeah, this might be my favorite cover in the run. I do like 10. I like 1, but
Buzz Crandall. I wonder if that's yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, and you got this
who did the cover? Is that
Zolderowicz, I think.
Dan Zolderowicz? Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was like a Reed Crandall kind of a thing. Buzz Crandall, like
what number is that?
I don't know.
14.
Yeah, that's a solid one.
Is that something you were after, or?
I mean, it's.
Let me take.
I was after it. I mean, I don't really have like a want list. There's books that I know that I really would like to own someday. And when I look through Fiction House, there's a couple planets on that list. I have a Planet 1. I have Planet 14 is probably the next on the list. And then I like number 10 and number 2 and probably like 9 decent with the spider, but it's not like I have a want list. But yeah, Planet 14 is always something I would like to own. So now I have one. So yeah, it's cool.
It's a solid book right there. I love those books.
And then,
all right, next, it gets crazy. Let's see.
Nice.
Another Democrat.
Yeah.
Look at the gas man.
Democrat 7. This is the last issue. Just a crazy cool cover. Not a damsel in distress though, because she's able to defend herself.
She's got her P-38 right there.
Yeah, and then I don't know what's this Sandman looking guy, but it's super cool.
It's got his gas mask. That's all.
Yeah, gas mask, green blazer, gun.
It reminds me of that More Fun. Is it? Oh wait, More Fun.
Yeah, More Fun with the Sandman cover. Right?
I think that was the 40s, 50s N95 mask back in the day. That was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or am I thinking of Adventure Comics? Oh man, I'm getting it mixed up.
Adventure would have been
Sandman.
Adventure.
40.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't think this one. I mean, I don't think I showed this on this show because of Misfit too. But this is my old copy. I was able to get back from a friend who upgraded and sold me back my old copy. So I was happy to get this one back. Prime Mysteries too.
One of the best Pieta covers, I always say.
Yeah, it's a cool book, and a pretty good colors on this one. It's a little dirty. I think it's got room to improve. This thing is really dirty. Can you guys see that?
It is nice.
That is dirty.
Yeah, it's
Needs
really
a bath.
dirty.
Needs a bath. That's
Dirty book.
But I mean, the staples are tight, and structurally, it's nice. I feel like this has room to improve. But anyway, it's a good book. I don't know why I bought this, just for the hell of it, sort of an impulse buy, but
because that's an awesome book.
yeah, it is awesome. I never owned it. I sort of don't do too much PCH anymore, but yeah, why not? It's a good looking 2.0 Journey 6, and pretty classic. So yeah, pretty decent looking for a 2.0.
I saw one at Baltimore I liked. The guy wanted a little bit too high, but that was
Yeah, this book's not cheap anymore, I'll tell you that. So I figured if I was going to get one, I might as well get this one because the price is going down. All right, then I got two more. These are probably my two favorites in the stack. Well,
Don't want to. Look at this son of a bitch right now.
Yes. Score.
Guru.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is. Now, I saw that book at Baltimore. I took a picture of it. And next thing you know, it was gone. I figured it was gone for good. And next thing you know, I get a text from someone. And it says, "Hey, I just got this book." And I said, "Where did you get that?" And then you told me, you said somebody got it at Baltimore for him to ship to him.
Yeah, so here's the deal. That's not this book, actually. Here's the story. This was coming up on Heritage auction on a Sunday night auction.
Okay.
And the week right before that, a friend of mine spotted that one at Baltimore and sent a picture, and I was like, "Yeah, let me work out a deal." So I bought that one. That was a 5.0.
Right.
And I wanted to get that just in case I missed the Heritage one. The Heritage one came up, and I put one bid in, and when it came up live, and I won it. So then I had two copies. So I sold the 5.0 and I kept the 4.5. This is the one I originally wanted anyway, so I just kept it. So yeah, pretty nice looking 4.5 off white to white. And then last one here. This is a book I've wanted for a while, and really happy to finally get one of Pep Comics 34.
Oh yeah.
Those are some good books, man. I love that one.
Thanks guys. Yeah, this one, it's a good presenting 3.0, and this is a stream of gas, 2 streams of gas coming out of that. I guess he's shooting over this girl, his hand on the skulls. This is an Herb Novik cover, right?
Fujitani,
Fujitani.
Did you have it before? I can't remember if you had it at one time way back.
Who, me?
Yeah.
I've never had one of these. This is the first one. Yeah.
How good does it feel to have one? Is it pretty
awesome? I'll tell you. This is a book I see other people show, and I see it come up for auction, and it's just, and the MLJs, they have such that rich ink on their covers where it's just really, really darkly colored. Always, the MLJs have a really unique look, and with the illustration on this and the heavy coloring, it's just so awesome. And I never even saw one in hand anywhere. And so this is the first time I had one in hand, and I absolutely love it. It's such an awesome book.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I love it. So
Jeff, we want to know if you have an ECCC report.
I can give you a report on ECC for sure.
Well, let's see how it's going here. Let me. I guess.
Wait a minute. I thought you mentioned another book.
Me?
One that I might like a lot.
Ooh, a timely?
I don't know. What other book?
Didn't you?
Oh, yes. I do have another book.
Oh, the Deep Sea? That's right. The one where he kills a guy.
Under the Sea.
I like how Mike has to remind you of the grails you pick up. I love it.
Yeah. Raw book. I forgot about my raw books. I picked up a couple raws. Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
Look at that.
Come on, Jeff.
I don't think I have that one.
Oh.
I suck. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I bought this as a, what did he say? It was a VG, and it was just a front cover scan. And I'm like, whatever, fine. It wasn't that expensive. It's more like a 2.0, 2.5. It's complete. It's not restored. It's attached barely. Like it's pretty beat.
It's Bill Everett.
So, whatever. What I paid for it, it's fine. I mean, it's a nice presenting low-grade copy, so whatever. But it's definitely not what I thought it was going to be. But still cool to own. Ever since Mike put me on a mission to find him a copy, I started falling in love with it, and I wanted one for my Adam Age War collection. And he's done that with a few books. Cap 74, which I never even gave a second look to. And you told me about that one, and I started looking at it. I actually like it. All Select 1, which I'll probably never own. It's another one. And this one. So thanks to Mike for stoking my interest on this.
And how cool is that ocean? Come on.
Yeah, it's real cool. Yeah, the water's good.
Yeah.
Subby's drawn well. I like the boats in the background.
I think that could hold its own with war books,
Yeah, this is a real cool book. So yeah, happy to get it. It's a low grade. I probably won't even slab it on Steam like this.
How do you like the fact that it says Deep Sea Avenger on there and eventually becomes an Avenger?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah, and I think Mike was talking about how inside the story doesn't have the Soviet symbol on it. So when it came to publishing, I think because of the Cold War at the time, they decided to add it to the cover. It's not part of the interior story. Kind of cool background, but this is a Bill Everett cover, obviously.
All right, Jeff. So, can you give us a report on ECC?
Absolutely. ECC was actually a decent buying show. There was actually a lot of books. 2 AF-15s came in. I mean, a bunch of stuff came in. I bought some stuff. I'm trying not to buy much. I got expenses that I'm trying to put together. So I left my booth like once, and I ended up buying a bunch of stuff. So that's one thing. All of a sudden, I came back with a stack of like, after 4K later, of books. I'll show you guys. And as for attendance, it sucked. It was abysmal. I'll be honest with you. That show for attendance blew. So ECC, in theory, for buying was great. Probably mostly for dealers, maybe some people who got lucky. Outside for attendance, it was horrible. They didn't make it easy for people to get in at all. You would have to go to the building and then be told you have to get a COVID bracelet up the block. And then if you had kids below 11, they have to have a COVID test within 24 to 48 hours showing that they don't have COVID and or be vaccinated already. So they made it really difficult for people to do that. And there was no testing on site. There wasn't like rapid testing of any kind to offer even. So it was tough. It was really tough. I think Saturday, the busiest day, was probably what a Thursday should have been normally.
Jeez.
And even then, yeah, it was lame. But regardless, I'll show you some stuff that I picked up. It was fun.
Were there because I heard about this, my hometown too. So, and I felt like I heard about it when I saw your post of you saying, "Hey, I'm setting up for ECC." I'm like, what? Right. I didn't even. Yeah, and like I wonder though, like, how about dealers? Were there some key dealers that weren't there? I'm trying to think. I think a lot of the big dealers were there. Harley was there. Reese's Comics was there. Graham Cracker was there. Terry was not there. I think Terry's trying to cut out cons a little bit more. Who else was there? That was bigger.
Ted was there.
Ted Van Loo was not there. So Super World wasn't there.
No, Dave and Adams, they're probably there.
Heroes was there. Dave and Adams was there.
Yeah, they go to all of them.
Mm-hmm. And that's about most of the ones that traveled. Oh, Bob Storms was there from High Grade.
What about Gator? Did he go?
Nope, no Gator.
He hasn't been here in a while.
Yeah, that's a long way for a Gator to travel.
Yeah.
So.
What about Roy?
Roy Delic from Canada?
Boards, yeah.
No, I haven't seen. Roy did not come over. So across the border, yeah. Let's see. So like I said, I mean, there's not much good to say attendance-wise, but a lot of people bought from each other. Dealers bought. I sold over 4 short boxes of magazines. I showed, so that was good. And some books here and there. So yeah.
Are they gonna have? Sorry, but I just wondered. Are they gonna have the usual one like in March?
So it sounds like what they're doing is they're going to have it in August, and then the following year they'll try to get back to the regular schedule. Huh. So I think a lot of people are going to try to get back to some regular schedules, so that summer might get pretty packed and busy. Yeah. So expect a lot of back-to-back cons, but August should be Emerald, according from what I heard. So, but for pickups, I'll show you some stuff if you want.
Yes.
So I went out with some people, and I was sitting at a restaurant, and this guy broke out some books. He's just like, "Oh, I found these books. I really wasn't interested in them." And he's just like, just threw out some prices on them. So one of them was this Headline 12.
Oh, nice.
I was like, "Oh, I love Headline." So some great covers, and he only wanted $60 for it. I was like, "I'll give you $100." Here you go. So
yeah, it's a nice white cover too. That's clean.
Yes, it was clean. I mean, it's got a big stamp. I don't care. This is probably It's probably it's probably like a 5.0, maybe a 5.5. Nice. It's really nice. And then I did some trading. Somebody came up and traded, and I was able to trade for a Wonder Comics. Really nice, probably a 6.0, beautiful looking 6.0. It's got some foxing on the back, but classic airbrush Schomburg, number 16, I believe, or 19, 16.
Real nice.
So yeah, that was cool to add. And this one I don't see very often. It's a really cool book. It's a short 8-issue run. But Weird Tales of the Future, number 1.
Oh yeah,
that's a good one.
Yeah, this is like a 7.0. I mean, it's beautiful. So just a
I've
cool
seen
book.
A couple of those. Every time I see that book, it's like a 2.0.
Right. So I was just excited to get that in, and so that was a cool book. I didn't expect to see that. And this one, I always see number 1 of this book, Tormented number 1. I don't ever see number 2.
Oh, the trapeze.
Yeah, nearly as much. And let's not forget the bloomers. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It's a cool cover.
This is all from that dude at like the restaurant or whatever?
Nah, he only had the headline, which I didn't expect, and then a bunch of other nonsense. This was a cool graded book that I got for a cool deal.
Oh, Nico.
This is I mean, exploding cover. I mean, the kid right there getting blasted is probably my favorite part, obviously. I can't say obviously, but it's an A5, off-white, Racket Squad, number 12. You know, a classic explosion cover, because that's a thing. And then this was surprising to see a War Report number 2 and a 6.5.
That's a good
flamethrower cover. Look at that. It's the second highest graded. Look at that.
Wow.
Flamethrower, white pager. 6.5 white pager.
Nice flamethrower.
It's a feral.
Wait, you have a white page feral and a fine plus.
Yes.
They don't exist.
Wow, that is amazing. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, pretty stoked about that one. What's to say? Soft-hearted kid, Dead Man's Hill. This is cool too. Fight Against Crime, number 12. I think it's the last issue in the run. It's an 8.5. I think it's every bit the 8.5 it says it is. It's a really nice book. It's a great violent title. You know, some awesome covers in this book.
Horror and terror.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And crime.
And crime, yeah.
And this one is a great cover. Hangman.
Lewis has that. That's
MLJ.
Hangman covers.
Number 6.
That is great.
It's got a lot of resto to it.
Yeah.
Of course, the worst one being 3 edges trimmed, and then 5 extra staples, small amount of color touch on cover, and tape on cover. But
yeah, well, that's not a book that you just run down to the comic shop and pick up whenever you want it. You know what I mean?
I do.
You see that come around more than once a year, twice a year.
Yeah, there's a reason I grabbed it.
Yeah.
And then Flash Comics. I love a good Hawkman cover. Flash Comics number 19. It's a 5.0 checkmark white pager.
Yes.
Yeah, CGCS cool. White, so probably CGC off-white white.
Yeah.
That's a nice book. I like this.
And my favorite pickup. Those were all cool books, right? This is my favorite pickup. Okay.
Old School Adventure.
Adventure Comics number 20.
20, nice.
This is a beautiful 6.0 or just a beautiful 6.5. I don't even know. It's a gorgeous copy.
Yep.
Bro, that banner is so white.
Reese had an adventure.
It's really nice. Oh, yeah?
It was slabbed and stuff, but I've been Lewis especially loves that. He might be joining here in a little bit. He's trying to get all the pre-hero DC.
Yeah, I don't blame him. That seems like a good place to go right now, still, before things get nuts. I think that's the only book I'm looking to keep for the most part is that one. It's Adventures. That for some reason is the most exciting to me.
Well, they had a decent run in Adventure with that white banner up top, and they always have tanning or dirt or boxing, and that one looks like it is clean, fresh white, the whole banner. That's an amazing looking copy. And that's like a 38 too, isn't it? Like 38?
I think it's October 37. Yeah, October 37. So it is. I mean, I was surprised. I saw the con kind of in some corner, and the price was like ridiculous to what I thought it was. And I opened it up. I was like, wow, this. Unless there's some kind of restoration, I'm not catching. It's pretty amazing. So
Yeah, that's
stoked.
tough, Jeff.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, we're gonna go to a topic now. What's our curmudgeon comic book store owner over there redoing his book for customers? The curmudgeon.
Oh, Jeff, I wanted to show you this thing I finally tracked
Oh,
down.
the baker.
That's amazing. That thing stood out on your wall out of everything.
Well, everything else is silver.
It was just one of those Baker books that never seemed like a challenge, and then all of a sudden it was like I couldn't get one ever.
3.5. That's great. It looks
That's
beautiful.
It's not bad.
So of the topics that you guys brought up, the one that kind of we can briefly talk about, CGC is giving pedigree holders to Gaines file copies.
Yeah, so I brought that up because I was actually talking with a few other people about it right before the show, and I'm watching the Comic Link auction tonight, right? And there's some EC books coming up, and there's some with a gold label, and I'm like, that's cool, and they're high grade, and they have the gold pedigree, and it's Gaines file copy, and I'm like, that's a pedigree, and I went on the CGC website, and it's on there. It says, go through their pedigrees, and they have the Gaines, and it's on there, and I don't know. I'm not drawing conclusions, but it was interesting to me. I initially would have never suspected that would qualify as a pedigree because it's my understanding that like pedigrees have to be an original owner collection. They have to have a certain number of keys or big books in it. They have to have a certain volume of books, and they have to be of a certain uniform good quality. All of that fits for the Gaines file copies, except. That doesn't strike me as an original owner collection. I don't think those books were ever sold. He just pulled 12 of each issue off the line and put them in brown paper and set them aside. And maybe somebody knows more than me, but I suspect he probably did it even on company property and didn't even bring them home. I don't think those books ever left EC offices. And to me, it doesn't strike me as an original owner collection. And then the other question is CGC just loosely giving that a pedigree to make money, or is there been a push to get some of these file copy collections becoming into the pedigrees? Because Harvey file copies are out there too, and they're high grade and nice, and there's some big books in there. And I think the Harvey file copies are as voluminous as the EC ones. That maybe should be a pedigree too. And then where does that lead to if, say, Marvel has a bunch of unsold stock at some warehouse somewhere they release, and it's all these bronze keys and they all get 9/8. Is that the Marvel warehouse pedigree? It gets a gold label too. So I don't know. There's a lot of questions, and I just thought it was interesting, and I was totally unaware of it, and maybe it's something new. And so I'm just interested to hear people's thoughts on that.
Yeah, I didn't. That's interesting. I don't know. It kind of sounds like the Pluto factor here. You got a planet, you don't have a planet, then you got a planet again. It's like, because they've dropped pedigrees too, right? Didn't they just drop a couple that were pedigree and no longer pedigree, and now file copies are pedigrees? I mean, I guess there's kind of a fuzzy line there potentially, really, but I mean, the Gaines file copies are obviously gorgeous books.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Do they deserve to be pedigrees?
I mean,
probably not by the definition that they've told us in the past, but so I don't know. Go ahead.
The Harvey file copies and the EC Gaines files is that if they've never sat on a rack, they were never handled by the public. Nobody ever found them at the rack and then put it back. Of course, they're going to be high grade.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be at that point. One of the reasons that I like some of these pedigrees, or the ones I like, is the story behind them. There's no story behind these. There's no real story behind a Gaines file copy other than he put them away. And the same thing with the file copies. They were in a warehouse in Arizona. I mean, it wasn't like, the San Francisco pedigree or the Nordstrom pedigree or the most recent Promise collection or Edgar Church collection, Mile High, whatever you want to call it. They will have a good story behind them, or a story, whether good or bad, depends on it.
Yeah. Well, here's
Western
the Edgar Church.
Savannah,
The Mile High, though, here's like a sort of how you could maybe justify it if you made this argument. And the Mile High copy or Mile High Pedigree is books that were collected by Edgar Church, who worked in comics, and that's not exactly the same as some kid or some guy going out and buying the books he likes and keeping them. And then he had a connection to the comic business and was sort of keeping file copies in a way himself, but he was keeping them at his house, and it was from all publishers. Like he just got every single book that came out.
But he got them from a store though.
Yeah, right. So he bought them for himself.
They kept them for him.
Exactly, but he was keeping them almost as his own personal set of file copies of comics because he was in the comic business.
Well, I don't think he actually did comics. I think he was an illustrator of magazine.
Magazine illustrator, yeah. So I mean,
sorry to be like that guy, but
yeah, related field. But yeah, I mean, he bought his own. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think Harvey file copies will qualify. That's what I think too. So I mean,
yeah, I mean, I look at like the Western Pen is a father-son team. Everything else they were purchasing they were available for anybody to buy. It just so happened that these guys bought them, kept them. The Church is the same situation. I don't know if I don't want the Pedigree to be, because to me I do put the Pedigree a little higher if it is one of the good ones that I like, and they're all personal opinion. But I put San Francisco 1, Mile High 2, probably Promise 3, regardless of grades, because of the history of it and everything there. Then probably in the Bronze Age ones, you got the Western Pen, Savannah, the North Shore.
I don't think I have a problem with the Promise collection.
Sorry?
I have a problem with the Promise collection being.
I have a problem with the great, but not the fact that it's a Pedigree.
All the books, like from the Mile High, should be like, oh, this is a Mile High. You look at it, you understand. Yep, that's Mile High. Not like he owned it, but it's like the book itself has the characteristics. Whereas like the Promise collection, the ones from whatever year onward were like amazing.
45.
But he had stuff from before that were just in his collection. Right. That either he bought secondhand or maybe he bought as a kid or something, but those were like not even close to the quality.
Well, you're not going to have I think there has to be a certain level of quality among the collection for it to qualify, and maybe it's not going to be 100% of high quality like the Mile High. 100% of those are, well, not even really. There's some 7.0s and 6.5s in the Mile High, honestly. But the Promise collection has such a wide range of books, and so much of a percentage of those books, like you said, after a certain year, are so high quality that has to be a Pedigree. But yes, some of the earlier issues are pretty beat. That Batman 1 they had was a low grade. I mean, it was like a 2.0 or 2.5 or something. But when the fact that there has a Batman 1 and then all those high grade timelies and everything in between. But yeah, that's a Pedigree with some varying grades at the early part of it, but it's certainly an original owner collection. The Gaines file copies, I don't consider them to ever have had an owner at all. Right. They just were EC books entirely until they were all released, and they were never purchased by anyone. And so for me, it's not a Pedigree at all. Maybe they got rid of the collection designation, and maybe they're just using the gold label for all of them, but they have it under their pedigrees as the Gaines Pedigree, listed among the other pedigrees on the website. So I don't know. Anyway,
if you get kind of loose with stuff like that, you're gonna just see down the road future changes, because then you're gonna see Stan Lee's, collection become a Pedigree or anything that's given. Like Marvel down the road they probably put away I don't know how many comics from production. Next thing you know, there's going to be 30 Ultimate Fallout 9.8s, 9.9, and a 10, and all these other books that they just put away. So Marvel's going to have a Pedigree.
Yeah, that's
what are we going to do here at some point? You're kind of setting a precedent.
There were
good or bad, but down the road it could ultimately backfire to some degree. And by the way,
I think it's like the Hall of Fame. If you start just letting all the good players in, it's not a Hall of Fame anymore. It like dilutes the quality of it. Like football and baseball Hall of Fames, in my opinion, they let way too many people in. There should be like half of those people shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. And it's like
about
the
time
pedigrees, if
Gil
you
Hodges
start diluting it, you loosen the standards. It lessens the greatness of what a pedigree is to an extent. It's never going to hurt the Mile High. Those are what they are. But I feel like the Gaines file copies are what they are, and they are very well respected copies in the hobby. I mean, those are key copies that people want, and they bring a premium, and they're high grade. And you don't need even to make that a pedigree for those to have the value and the standing in the hobby that they already have. So I don't know. I thought it was interesting, and
why did they do this? I'm wondering, like, did someone come to them with a stack of these? You know, I mean, there had to be some catalyst for them to do this all of a sudden, and I'm wondering if it was just some kind of massive dump of.
Yeah, not sure. I would like to hear from maybe a press release or somebody from Heritage can shed some light on it at some point, or somebody will talk about it.
Well, let me ask. Is Heritage the first one to see this label, Ed? I'm just asking. Is Heritage the first auction house to have this gold
No, it was on Comic Link tonight.
Okay, well there you go. So
Comic Link's the first one.
I noticed.
I mean, somebody from CGC, not Heritage. CGC.
When they added this,
I said Heritage purposely.
Gold label. Okay. When they added this whole thing with the gold label and stuff, and they changed the pedigree label, I thought they were going to come out with a collection label.
They had one for a minute.
Right. That's what they are. Collection.
And it's silver. Yeah.
Right. But a pedigree, there are levels within levels now with pedigree, like there is in the Hall of Fame. You're not going to compare Babe Ruth to, Bill Mazeroski, You're not going to, no offense to Pirate fans out there, you're not going to compare in football a Joe Montana to Ray Guy the punter, But it's just the way it is. It's just, in general, there's now levels within levels of pedigree. And a lot of people agree with me on the rankings when I say San Francisco's one, because we really don't know what's in it. They've only touched the surface on that.
I do like that they will at least label the file copy. Like, I think there's some file copies that people have that are even CGC, but they don't say anything.
I mean, look, they label everything. I just saw some books recently that were from the collection of Stan Lee's Taylor.
Oh yeah,
is that some dude that people know a book from? Like, was that?
Yeah, he gave his Taylor books.
Yeah,
really they're beautiful. I don't know, but one more just to touch on Mile High. I have not had many Mile Highs. Okay, but I have talked to people around the Mile, and people have also said Mile Highs are overgraded. There are some that have restoration that was never detected or marked. So I'm not an expert on Mile High. These are just things I hear around. Other people have been in it for a very long time. And Okajima, by the way, is another pedigree that had some damages to it. The top of the line also have damages to it. Where it sat, the bottom of the books got destroyed through like bugs eating it.
Oh man!
So there are ones that are not all pretty, and then there are that are really really nice.
Well, there was another. Isn't there another pedigree where the guy stored them on metal shelving? And so some of the water and the rusting of the metal shelving got on some of the books, and some of them have heavy rust staining on them.
Is that the Green River, is it, or whatever? No,
I don't know. I can't remember who was talking about it or where I heard it or what. But that's another pedigree where like 90% of the books were pristine, but the ones at the edges of the shelf, the water would fall down on it over time and ruin some of the books on the outside. I don't know.
What do you think? Should it be a pedigree or not?
Huh?
Yes or no?
What's a pedigree?
Just say yes or no.
No.
Yeah.
Magic
says no.
Magic 8 Ball spoken. That's great.
Yeah, so I mean, they have the Nicolas Cage collection, which, yeah, I mean, he had high quality books and he is known for having a good collection. But here's the thing: over time, you can keep pushing the envelope. It never goes back. It just gets broader and more encompassing over time. And now you have from the collection of Stan Lee's Taylor,
right? But they're not
giving collection of this dude, from the collection of this person, like. This is from the collection of a neighbor who lived in the town with Stan Lee in this year. Like, Is that
Yeah,
really
this-
worth
Yeah,
it?
at the same time, look, this
The-
is
The
from
Dave Parso collection, which is the Taylor books. We know a lot about it here in this town. He was here. Dave Parso did not get any of those books from Stan Lee. Not
But-
one was given to him. He bought them on his own. He was a comic collector.
Yeah,
He
at the same
made-
time, this
He
is a
made Stan Lee
funnies copy.
suits and coats. What?
Funnies, like I don't know if it was file copy or whatever, but like from Funnies Incorporated, you know.
Does that say property of Jeff Itkin?
Oh, I think it does.
But they don't mention that at all on the notes, so it's kind of like, what the hell?
I don't have a problem with putting notes on the actual, like CGC putting notes on the labels of any cool factor for the book. I think that's all. We should know everything we can about the provenance of these books. So from Stan Lee's Taylor, that's fine. I don't think that it's really that significant. But what is sort of a little concerning, I guess, is that is part of a bigger effort to expand the specialness of all these books, and that has now led to EC file copies being pedigrees too. And
Yep.
I just feel like they're just adding more and more, and that every book is going to have something special about it, and then none of them are special anymore. It's like modern variants. When
Yeah,
you-
I was
when
going
you
to say modern
have
variant.
5 million, 1 in 100 variants, they're not special anymore. It's
Right.
sort of, yeah, so I don't know. You got to hold the line somewhere, and it's just interesting to see how it develops over time.
When there was somebody who put out the ratio variants, and I wanted to, DS, you brought up a good point. There was a ratio variant where they said there's only 5,000 copies, or whatever it was, 1,000 copies ever done, and I heard for a fact that an additional 500 books were found of that. So if that ever happens to a few other ones, that's going to go crazy. But just about that Parso collection, that would be a collection, because he bought books a lot. And I have from a source here who texted me, who watches the show. He told me, he's like, nope, knows Dave Parso very well. And he was here in town. He was also Warren Buffett's Taylor as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
But
more notes.
Stan Lee used to get his suits from Dave.
more notes on the
We
label.
used to have the store Parso's here in town. So
Uh,
anyway, so that's that.
Interesting topic. And it's
let me just ask you,
Yeah.
just a question.
Yeah.
Let's just say we didn't have the current definition that we have for pedigrees. Let's just say we're starting from scratch. Do you feel that it deserves to be in a special label, gold, like some of these others?
I
You
did.
know, we're going by the current definition. I think the Gaines collection is special enough to have a gold label. Could
Mhm.
pedigree or not, if we don't have that definition, but just saying it's worthy of it, deserves it.
I agree with you.
we fall
and here's
behind.
what I think. I think if it's from a collection that a consensus of the hobby thinks is special, and it has a specialness degree to it, it should get a gold label. But I don't think that should only be pedigrees like an original owner collection. I think the Black Cat collection deserves a gold label. That's every bit as special as the Gaines file copies. I mean, this guy went out and collected all of these PCH books in the highest graded copies and had all of them, and then all came to market. Those deserve a gold label. That's a special collection. I don't care if it's an original owner collection or not, but if it's from Steve Ditko's personal collection, that deserves a gold label. If it's from the Mile High, that deserves a gold label. But I don't think pedigree is any different than anything else. But since they've made pedigrees, some of these things clearly are not pedigrees. I would just get rid of the pedigree thing, and people will know what pedigrees are and what they aren't. Just you can give gold labels to the special books if you want, but if you only give gold to the pedigrees, then you're now you're just diluting the definition of pedigree. It doesn't make sense.
I feel that if we just give gold to anybody who has the money to put together beautiful book collections within a 10-year period, then that is more dumbing down the gold label than anything else, because there's a lot of people who can do that and do it multiple times, to be honest.
Good point.
Yeah, I mean, if the hobby feels a certain collection is worthy of status to be remembered that this book came from that collection, if it's a noteworthy collection, Yeah, I mean, that should be pointed out somehow. I don't care if they want to just put a note on the label or how Heritage does. They put a sticker on it. That's cool. There should be something that it's the provenance in these collectibles, and it's things that are from certain collections are noteworthy and they're special that you can say you own something from a certain collection. I don't feel right elevating original owner pedigrees above all the other stuff. To me, it's just all noteworthy stuff. And I mean, in the end, we own the books and we pay for the grading. And if we want gold labels on it, why not? I mean, that's how I feel about it. But I don't feel like putting pedigrees on a pedestal above all this other stuff is fair either. And then letting all this other stuff, it's just either do it for all the noteworthy stuff or not at all is how I feel about it.
Good point.
I think you should get a gold label if your book is the highest graded.
Well, because it's temporary.
Yeah, that never lasts though.
Yeah, but you had it at one point.
Well, then the first person who grades a book with 0 in there is going to, I mean, the first person who grades a book tomorrow.
A Gene Autry 72.
Yeah. Or even something like that comes off the rack tomorrow.
No, pre 1960 or something like that.
You got a lot of
Gabby Hayes, #1 and a 3.0 gold label. I was
Right.
graded.
Exactly.
Mutt and Jeff freaking book.
It's interesting. The grading.
A lot of those pedigrees are
Andy
celebrated
Panda.
because of the condition, so why not?
Yeah. Well, look, the grading phenomenon, which I'm in favor of, third-party grading, and then the auctions, the popularity of the market, these collectibles have value as investments. It's all grown so much, and it's evolving, and it's just interesting to watch the changes over time. And ultimately, as long as we're protecting, preserving, and valuing the books and keeping them in good condition, that's what really counts on the bottom line. But it's interesting to see all this stuff around the periphery swaying values back and forth. It's crazy but the books are being protected and preserved, and that's the most important thing. But there's just a lot of commercialization and money grabs going on in the hobby, but it doesn't seem to be hurting the books themselves. They're just being passed around and protected. So all in all, no harm done. It's just interesting stuff around the periphery that's always changing, and I think money fuels it mostly.
So if you guys had a graded Gaines copy, would you send it back in so that they could reslab it? Or would you not want to risk people handling that?
I wouldn't want to risk it.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was an old holder that was cloudy, like a Gen 1 cloudy, scratched, crappy holder,
Sure, yeah.
I might send it back in to get a reholder, and while I'm getting it reholder, might as well get the special label or whatever. But if I have one that's in a new holder and they just started this, I would just keep it in the holder. It's already good enough. I don't get reholders unless it's an old crappy holder.
Yeah. I don't trust them doing anything half the time. So sending in already a 9.8 book to just get it reholdered, just sketches me out.
I feel like the more popular they've gotten, the more nervous I get about sending stuff for some reason. I don't know why.
I don't know.
All right. So it's a tough one here. The next topic that we wanted to go over that I thought would be good. Do we have any of the stuff up we wanted to go over? Prices or anything, or should we do that another time?
I don't have the prices.
Okay.
I thought Lewis was going to grab it.
Yeah, we blame Lewis for that one. Where are you, Lewis?
I mean, we could talk about the market and prices, but I feel like
we probably should talk. Let's just talk about the market in general. We're not going to talk about ASM 361. You guys who spent $1,500 on it 3 months ago, and now they're worth $500 today, whatever. I don't care about your crop stories or anything else. You buy something with 3 million copies, you deserve it for that amount of money. But what we should talk about is some of the new prices that we've seen on a few books, and I'm not talking about a Ninja Turtle book that Kevin Eastman put graffiti all over it that's for $150,000. I mean, come on.
$198,000.
The graffiti book? And that's what I'm calling it. It's graffiti.
Yeah. It went for $200 grand. $200 grand it went for.
Yeah.
Tonight it sold, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Look, I said this to somebody else, too. That book, I think it's ugly as hell, and I would be so pissed if that was the one I owned. But we're Golden Age collectors. We're really like cover art that's unmolested. Right? a lot of other people, newer collectors, people who are into more modern stuff, they really value remarks and signatures and sketches and all that stuff. I mean, you go to a con, I can go up to, any one of these Golden Age dealers' booths, and it's easy to get right in there. There's not a line or nothing. I can see awesome rare books to the end of the day with no lines. You go down to Artist Alley and you want to get a signature from some dude I never heard of, there's a whole long line and people are shelling out money to get them to draw a remark or do a signature. So there's a market for that, and that's who bought that TMNT1.
What was the grade on it?
It was a 9.8. I mean, it was a legit copy.
Yeah, but isn't that below the last 9.8 sale by quite a bit? I thought didn't one sell for $250,000?
I thought it was a 9.6.
Did one sell for $250,000? It might be below that.
I don't remember what grade it is, but if it's a 9.8, then it sold well below. But I just don't know. I can't imagine you did a 9.8 out of opening the book completely open and painting all over it. It still comes back a 9.8 on a black cover book. I don't know. That'd be pretty miraculous.
Oh, Ken, can you tell me about this? Because I haven't heard about this thing.
Oh, you're lucky.
Bring it up.
Edie, here, I'll show you a picture.
You're lucky.
But, Jeff, I did wonder, because I have heard some people saying that the market, people are a little pulling back a little bit and getting a little scared.
Yeah, here it is. If you want to share my screen,
Yeah.
maybe.
Let me see. You got it?
Let me bring it up here.
Would you say that's true, Jeff?
It is. A 9.8. I apologize. It is a 9.8.
It's a nice. So I thought there was a 250 sale of a 9.8.
So yeah, I'll look on GPA too, but this one sold for 198, 888, and then they have a 3% buyer's premium, which they'll waive if you pay quick, and then there's shipping and tax and whatever. So $200,000. Yeah, so I'm not going to read this whole description, but here's what the book looks like. I mean, the entire cover is covered with drawings.
They're not good. It's ugly.
Yeah, I mean, you got what's shredder up top here. Well, here, look at the back. There's two turtles here, and then half of them, I guess, is that shredder. I'm not a huge Turtles fan. And then the back, it's like a wraparound. There's the other two turtles, and the other half of shredder.
Actually, the highest I see a 9.8 going for within the last couple of years is 90,000.
Yeah, there was another sale. Maybe it was on Comic Link. Maybe it's not showing, but I thought there was a 250 sale.
Oh wait, there was no. It was well below that.
Somebody else fact check too. Chat.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think you're right, Jeff. Now that you say it, I do recall one going pretty high, but
I don't see it on Gold
these high-end books, these super high-value books, are pretty volatile, and they'll have massive, $20,000, $50,000 swings in them that don't necessarily mean the value has risen or fallen since the last sale. So I wouldn't say that this is proof that it's worth less because of the writing, but just in an absolute sense, this is a $200,000 book. And for me, I would rather have a 75 without all of that. But, like I said, for us, this is not what we want on our covers.
That just proves the bad taste of people. Because, you could spend $200K and get a great piece of original, probably a nice page or two from that book of original art, which would be 1,000,000,000 times better than this.
Yeah, I mean, it's, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, but I behold this to be.
And how is it still a 9.8? There's no way that, I don't know.
Well, because
if I remember correctly, Torpedo had this book raw, and I think they may have been the ones to get it done. If I remember on Instagram, them posting it. So that's part of the story of it.
It looks terrible.
It's a 9.8 because CGC witnessed the work being done by Kevin Eastman, so it's certified. If you sent this in, if you just had this done at a con and sent it in, it would get a 9.8 green, or you could probably opt for the blue, which with all of this on there would probably be, I don't know, what would all this drop it to? 5.0?
Color touch? Yeah.
5.0, 6.0
so
maybe?
If they damage it while drawing,
it happened to me. George Perez
count.
did it. No offense to George, but I gave him a Infinity One that he drew, but it was a blank cover. He drew Thanos on it, and his arm just went like this across it, which is fine. he felt bad. I said, I don't care what the grade is. You're drawing for me. I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a pristine copy, and it's a thick cover cardstock type thing.
It maintains the grade. Is that what I'm hearing?
If CGC witnesses it, it'll get the grade it
Yeah,
gets.
they'll get whatever they want.
That seems
It's
that's kind
I
of
don't
messed
know
up.
how I'm supposed to get a 9/8 with all that shit on it.
Well, it's a signature that's witness. It's a witness
Yeah.
signature or remark.
Yeah, they could witness him folding it in half.
Yeah, they still have to grade it. It's still supposed to go through grading procedures.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they didn't do like on site. This went back to the back to CGC, and I'm sure it was expedited. But whatever, it's a pretty book.
It looks pretty pristine to me.
It's nice.
There's
So
no damage on this thing at all.
Oh, it's
No.
a beautiful book,
it's pretty.
and it's the
pretty.
first printing. So
I just look, if I had this copy raw and it was that, I wouldn't let anybody draw on it, no matter who. I wouldn't let anybody. I wouldn't let Kevin Eastman or anyone else draw or write on it. I would be hand delivering this thing.
And are you saying that the guy who owned this and had it done is now not the owner?
no,
But just sold.
Wow.
Yeah, he had it done and put it up for auction, and it sold tonight for $200,000.
Wow. Because I could see, if it's your book, yeah, you can do whatever the hell you want, and if that's what you love, fine. But like, I'm surprised that someone else liked it that much.
yeah.
If I were going to get this, I would probably in this black area up here on the back cover get a sketch done. That'd be
Like
cool.
if Joe Simon, if I had a Cap 1, period, I don't, even if it was pretty beat up, well, what they do, but I wouldn't have Joe Simon draw a Captain America on it. I mean, it's just have him draw on a piece of paper.
It looks like one sold in September to 9/8 at Comic Connect for $245,000.
Oh, see, that's why I removed. I apologize about that. I don't really. I'm not going down that road with Comic Connect.
Okay.
Yeah, it's possible, but yeah, I'm not.
Yeah. So anyway, there you go.
I wonder if we could find the buyer on that one.
So yeah, I mean, look, I don't know.
Comic Connect.
People do crazy things in this hobby, and that's
The last sale
things
before that
love
was
to do.
90,000, right?
No, it can't be. I don't think so.
I've
mean-
never seen a six-figure Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle 1. I mean, I'm looking back here. A 9/8. I saw 90,000. That's the one I remember.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
245. I see the one Jeff's talking about.
That's Comic Connect, right?
Yeah, it's
with,
Comic Connect.
9/8 white. Yeah,
That's
245.
like the Jose.
Well,
Canseco
I mean,
comic books.
this is the same thing as like those late Stan Lee signatures that you can barely even read his name. It just looks like
yeah, there are a few of those out there. Yeah.
a lot. He draws like right over Spider-Man's head or something. I mean, it's like,
Yeah,
oh,
the Stan
God.
Lee signatures, I get why people like to have Stan Lee sign a book. I mean, he's a legend. But again, when you're dealing in collectibles, especially for value, and I'm just talking about value here. I'm not talking about if you just personally like or want something. But for value, a Stan Lee signature is very common. He's signed millions of books. Okay, there's millions of them. And if you just personally want a Stan Lee signature, cool, get a book with Stan Lee signature on it. But otherwise, I stay away from those as investments because number one, they're hard to resell because you've cut down the demand pool because a lot of people don't want the signature on the book. They just want the look. So you have less people looking to buy it. And then people ask for more than the book itself is worth because of the signature on it. And that makes it harder to sell because people don't want to pay that premium for something like that most of the time. They're very difficult to resell. You don't get deals on them when they come up because people ask so much for them. And if you get them raw, you can't send them to CGC. You have to send them to CBCS to get verified, and then it brings less on the market when you resell it. So I don't mess with signatures at all on any books. And I personally am not a starstruck kind of person. I don't give a crap about meeting any of these people. most of the guys I like on comics are dead anyway, long gone. So I don't care about any of that stuff. But
Well,
I just
what would you say though? How much more would you pay if it was like verified that on the inside this was signed by Jack Kirby and Stan Lee on the inside?
I wouldn't pay anything extra for it.
Yeah,
I would.
I have it.
I would pay more if it was actually like really verified.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
But I don't
That's
think I
really
would
good
like
colors
it
on
on the
that book. I'm
cover
just going to
too
say
much.
that right now. That's probably the nicest colors on the Hulk one I've seen in a long time.
look, if I could get one of those for the same price, but it has the Jack Kirby signature on the inside, then I would do it. But I wouldn't pay more.
Of course you would do it.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So, but I'm not paying more for a signature. I don't care about Jack Kirby's signature. I just want the Hulk one.
I
I'm not
do.
paying for a signature. But sometimes sometimes you get books and you open them up and there's a signature on the bottom of the splash page that nobody knew about for years, and you discover it, and that's super cool when you find it. That I like.
What about that 7.5 right there?
What do you mean?
That's beautiful.
I don't know. Is that worth anything?
That's
I
a
would rather have a date stamp.
I'm pretty sure it's a
stamp.
pedigree.
I'm sure it isn't.
I like date stamps and little cool factor things on the cover. I don't like signatures.
So other things I've seen in the market lately is affected some Silver Age, and I didn't. But I'm gonna get to the gold real quick. The Silver Age, some of it's come back to where it was. Let's say the beginning of the year, we had that late run in the summer to the end where things were just going. Every week there's a new high on everything else.
Well, wait. Jeff never answered my question about, since he's been in the market, is it true that there's kind of, some of it's dropped out and people are scared to spend the money that they were like 6 months ago or a year ago?
I'll just say this. People complain when the prices are too high, and then when the prices drop, they still don't jump the frick in.
Yeah.
All right, and then they complain that they missed again.
Yeah.
So, like, if occasionally a book goes down and it's a key book, well, goddamn, guess what? If you bitched about it because it was too high and now it dropped and you still don't commit, you were full of hot air and you're talking trash or talking out your butt. So sometimes, this time of the year, it always slows down. Always, always, always. It's a great time to pick up books. My last AF-15 I picked up was like this time of the year, and I got it for a great deal. All right. Just saying, like, there's opportunities when things go down, so either jump on it or just don't complain about it when it goes back up, how you shoulda, coulda, woulda, but you didn't. That's all I gotta say.
When does it pick up again? After the holidays?
When I say so.
There you go.
Because I've heard, it's not a good time.
March?
During tax season, it's not a good time. So maybe March, after tax.
You know what? You can't predict when something's going to pop anymore. We really can't. I will say this. I haven't seen a lot of fluctuation in the golden age, at least the books I looked at. But what I have seen is, and this is pissing me off, all those famous, funny Frazetta covers all going on way too high right now. They're going way higher than I thought they were. Those went up the last ones that I've seen sell that were in like medium, like what's called good price grade, in your 4.5s to your 7.0s. They were good there. They are now priced like the way 8s were. Well, not 8s, but there aren't that many. But like just standard books of that era, they've gone up quite a bit. So that's one thing what I've been keeping an eye on. That stuff. DS, I've seen war books jump again.
I mean, a couple of them have. That market's still underappreciated and there's not a lot of people in it, but the flamethrower covers are bringing attention to that market.
Yep.
And but it's hit and miss. Sometimes you'll have a war book go really strong, and then there's another really good war book, and a 6.0 goes for $95. So it's like when you're trying to start your car and it's not quite catching, but it's like it's turning over a little bit and stopping. That's like the war market. It almost is.
I see a few pop, and then I see a few standard prices there. But what I have seen is a lot of old school timelies. Or Captain America's is still going strong. All the hero books are still going very strong in the golden age. All of them. I mean, to me, the one that I did see a Spectre book that Well, let's be honest. They just keep going up. Specters are going up. Dr.
I can't.
Fates.
It is so hard. I mean, guys, we all know how hard it is now to buy stuff that was so easy 3 years ago. Like, I don't see more funds out on
I was
there.
gonna say,
I don't.
those funds are gone. They're
Adventure
gone.
comics,
Yeah.
timelies are far more scarce to find, especially raw. I mean, forget about it. So, and I get asked for it all the time. So I know the demand is always there. I've stopped selling that stuff because I'm just like, what's the point of selling it right now? You know, if I don't have to sell my timelies and I could sell, I don't know, my America Chavez or my stupid other nonsensical titles, you know, Black Panther Volume 72, you know, variant, Scotty Young variant. I don't freaking know. Then I will do that. Okay. In the meantime. So I don't know. It's I mean, timely's, God, man, that price is jumping.
The timelies are going up. The LB Cole covers, yep, an EC book. I've seen
EC books, yeah.
I've seen a lot of Tales from the Crypt go for prices that were like, you know, and let's say the 6.0 grade that usually run around that $400 to $800 range. All of a sudden they're hitting that $700 to $1,000 range, and then the higher grade ones, when you know.
Well, yeah. Look, horror never goes out of style. And I think you have a lot more people coming into the comic market over the last year or two. And inevitably, some of that filters down to the more niche genres like PCH. And whenever you get into a niche genre or people move into a new category, they go for the Cadillacs of that category first. Those are the blue chip stuff. And that's why in PCH, you're seeing Harvey stuff, the Chamber of Chills 19, the Tomb of Terror 15. That stuff's selling insanely high for those of us that have been in that market for years. And it's just because that's like the Cadillac of PCH type stuff. EC's the Cadillac of PCH. That's where people go first. And then if people stick around and really dive deep down the rabbit hole, you get to some of the more obscure stuff that there's not enough of it around for the new people to even know that it exists. But new people know the ECs and Harveys exist because they're out there. So those are bringing a lot of dollars. When you go back into the World War II books, I mean, where's your first stop? Timelies. I mean, people go to the Timelies, and really some people go there and they never leave. And I don't blame them because that stuff's awesome. So you're going to go to the Timelies. You're not going to have an influx of people going after Chesslers and just random ass weird shit, you know, Magazine Enterprises stuff. People don't, that stuff doesn't come up enough for people to know it. That's real esoteric stuff. But Timelies, I mean, World War II, Golden Age, everybody knows Timelies, and that's where everybody flocks. And when you get more people in the hobby and more money in the hobby, it flocks to that. And you've seen the prices go nuts. And that stuff really does deserve the prices. I mean, that's quality stuff.
Well, I used to walk around Emerald City Comic Con. I'd say, do you have any Timelies? And they'd be like, what? A lot of... Back then, I mean, it wasn't even that long ago, but didn't even know what the hell I was talking about.
Oh, yeah, that's...
And then some people would be like, if I did, I'd be keeping them.
Well, yeah, I mean, the books I saw some Superman story go up a bit, and obviously the Batman will go into the heroes. But, you know, I think it was Weird Fantasy, some of those were going a little high, and I'm okay with it because it's one of the good times in the market for both buyers and sellers. There is, like Jeff, thanks for saying it, it's true. We say it all the time. There's bargains to be had anywhere. There are still sweet spots where you can pick up good stuff at good prices. If you just shop around and look hard enough, you'll find it. If you think you're going to find a Tech 31 out there in the wild. But if you're looking for other books that are out there that are, you have your price goals, you have your range, there are things to be had out there. And especially in today's market where there might be a little bit of a downturn in there if you're a Silver Age key collector in there. But if you're a Golden Age person, unless you're specifically wanting nothing but Captain America, you're going to pay through the nose right now.
Yeah.
But if you're into the things and good art and good everything else, I mean, you can find anything.
Yeah, these things are like Go ahead, Mike.
Well, I wondered, Jeff, since you've been at con recently, like what books do I'm not gonna say kids because there probably isn't much, but like younger collectors, are they looking at your wall and they're kind of seeing that one book where they're like, "Oh, if I could have any book, that'd be it." But I'm not there yet. But like, is there some big books that a lot of younger people are like
What does younger mean? Give me an age.
Millennials.
20s to 30s?
Oh, 20. God, that's considered younger now.
Well, because there's no freaking 15-year-olds.
Yeah, absolutely. 20s and 30-year-olds, they know they should pretty much know every Silver Bronze Age book at this point. So every Bronze Age book, for the most part, 20, 30-year-olds are collecting Silver Bronze Age keys. And then you got the smaller percentage of that getting into the Golden Age. And when they get in, they actually tend to get in pretty aggressively. I find like the younger guys who are in, they're in pretty aggressive. Some people are slowly trying to get in, but if you're getting an aggressive Golden Age, which means you probably got in aggressively with Silver Age and Bronze Age, and because you did that, you've maybe now sold some of those pieces so you get aggressively in the Golden Age. It's just kind of more of a mentality of that person. I can't really go by age because even I at 11, 12 years old, I was studying the price guide right from the start, looking at Silver Age and Bronze Age keys. Like, I didn't give a crap about Classic X-Men #1 in my comic shop or whatever. I was looking at that Iron Man #1 up on the wall, or the ASM 129. So again, it's kind of like that mindset of who you are. If you find the excitement in kind of the deeper end, the most select books. So, but yes, plenty of 20, 30-year-olds, that's a big that's a big group of people buying the Silver Bronze, and also a good percentage of the Golden Age people. And whoever's, like I said, in the gold and that age is usually in pretty heavy. So, and I've seen a lot of migration of people too of late going into the gold strong these last several years, and already kind of finding interest in something into art as well now. That was a big deal. When I was at Emerald, I saw a lot of Golden Age collectors who collect Golden Age books heavy, really discussing art right now.
Like
and
original art.
Yes, like original art. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot. Look, there's a change going on in markets generally, and I'll just reference a couple things. Like earlier this year in the stock market, we have Robinhood that's just drawing in the retail investors and letting them do level 3 options trading right off the bat, and they don't know what the hell they're doing. And they're putting short squeezes on GameStop, and that stuff's going through the roof, and it's like gambling to them. And there's this Bitcoin phenomenon going on. And so it's younger people doing that. And then when those people get into comics, it's hard and fast and loose all the time. And that drives prices crazy. It really does, whether Bitcoin or GameStop or AF-15 or anything. It brings a lot of volatility to the market, to comics. It brings a lot of money, and it brings a lot of people who are not averse to risk. Now, I'm a little older.
I think new money, just new money in general, new money does that, not just.
Yeah, but new money is not always as risky. You know what I mean? Like, you have somebody my age is much more patient, conservative, and more in tune with risk than some of the younger generation. I feel like they don't have any risk aversity at all. They don't.
True, but if you're coming back to the like when a lot of us here came back, well, at least DS and I, we kind of came back to the comic in this, collecting, and we were just like, all right, so we figured it out. Like, these are the prices nowadays. And then we decided if we wanted to do it or not. But the ones that we decided, okay, we'll do it at today's market value. Some of the older collectors were like, you're insane. Like, why? Why are you paying that? But like, to us, it was like, that was the one that we felt was good. That was.
Yeah, but I think when we got back in, I think a lot of people who are getting in now are getting in to make money. And yes, they like comics and they ultimately have lists of stuff they want in their own PC. But I think the younger generation now is looking to speculate and flip and do quick investments and get in and out and do like GameStop options trading or Bitcoin massive swings and make money. And there's a lot of that going on. I mean, you got AF-15s and 4.0 going from 40 grand to 80 grand in like 2 months. That's not normal. Okay. That's not normal. That's a big book. That's not normal for a book that size to double that quickly. And then you see the volatility, like it goes from 80,000 and the next one's like 75 and then it's down to 60. These wild swings, that's not natural market movement. That's heavy volatility. So where is that coming from? Well, I think there's a lot more speculators. I think there's so much money in the comic hobby that it brings a lot of people who want to invest. And a lot of the younger investors have a much more gambling, risky mindset towards investing. I think that you're seeing a lot of that in these wild swings in these prices. In these
Have you seen it, Jeff? I mean, you would have seen in the past 5 years some returning customers then, right? Like,
Sure. Look, I mean, just to speak on the AF-15, I mean, it literally sat stagnant for about a year and a half. And when it finally decided to make a move, it moved. And it moved big. And you're seeing swings in certain books like that. But part of that is also the eye appeal of the book. I mean, you see a 4.0 no chipping that's clean, you're going to get 10 to 15% more than you would on the one that isn't. And that's pretty consistent. I mean, I'm seeing that regularly on shipped versus non-shipped cookies and the eye appeal of it. And so that's truly fascinating to see how much of a swing there is between a 4.5 at 75,000 to watching the same 4.5 go with shipping for like 60, if that even. But as for the collecting, I get what you're saying. I think that makes sense. I do see with the people here that they understand the concept of getting into a book. And I think they love the hustle, and I think they really like the upgrading. So getting into a book, making a comeuppance on it, putting into another book, making up another, investing into something else. And I am seeing that hustle that you're discussing, and of them just getting in, going and upgrading. Just kind of, just like I said, their hustle is there for them. It really is. Of course, there's always the ones who want to keep and create a big collection, but I feel like there's that enjoyment of getting big books, not like 50 or 60 books, but getting like 6 killer books or 7 killer books, working towards that, and that's probably makes sense because everything's so expensive to really justify just 5 to 8 years ago, what you could have gotten, the collection you could have amassed, opposed to today's market where you can't get a fraction of that for the value, for the amount of money you have to spend.
I mean, you're putting out so much money to just get a few books. Why not put out a little more and just get 1 or 2 like massive books? That makes sense.
Yeah, they're going for more big pieces, less pieces than most of us. I mean, look, most of us have collected for a long time. Okay, we have a lot of big pieces, and for them just getting in, you don't have a lot of big pieces, but you're proud to have 1 big piece, 2 big pieces, and work towards that 3. I mean, I can't imagine trying to put together, I've said this plenty of times, but I can't imagine trying to put a collection of somebody who started 10 years ago heavily. Alone 10 years. Even when people have collected for 20, 30 years, I mean, are you kidding me? Like when you see them posting on Instagram, I mean, I can't imagine. I can't imagine. Like you have to have like $500,000 just to get what somebody started with heavily 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy, but that's the reality of it. And so it makes it fun and exciting for us who have good collections, and we just can look back and be like, damn, that worked out. But if you're just starting.
I tend to go after stuff that's rarer just because, I don't know, it's almost more insulated from volatility or dropping in price because there's so few of them out there. If you can get your hands on rare stuff, either rare in grade or rare overall, and it's super cool and it's super rare, it's a slam dunk for me. But I'll tell you what I'm seeing a lot in this market, more now than and I've only been back in this market for maybe 6 or 7 years, something like that. Not a long time, but even in that short time, I'm seeing more now than I have in the past of people buying big books at market and immediately relisting them at 15 or 20% higher, not 5%, like 15 or 20 or 30% higher. And on some of these books, I feel like a very high percentage of the sales are to people who just want to relist it at a higher price and continue to ride that bubble up. And it worries me when I see books and I get a feeling that there's a heavy percentage of the buyers of a particular book are just in it to speculate as a quick flip to make money. That doesn't give me much confidence that that value is organic or legit. Now, with ASM books, it's legit because there's, 90% of everybody's buying ASM books is because they freaking love ASM. So, but you still get volatility at the high end. But then you get even some of these golden age books, you'll see, and I do it occasionally too, but a golden age book will get hot. People will be buying it up like crazy. Auction prices go high, and people are throwing it back out, and it's like a game of musical chairs. And that's happening in silver. That's happening in bronze. I mean, FF5 was going through that. People were buying FF5s and then relisting them right away for 20% higher, 25% higher, and somebody else would buy that and list it again for 25% higher, and it hit a wall. FF5 hit a wall now. Yes, it's a good book, but some of these books are way overinflated, I think. And it's hard to know for sure which ones are by how much, but a lot of that's going on. I feel like there's a lot of quick flip speculating on big books going on.
Yeah, well, someone was talking about, I can't remember where it was, but they were talking about the baseball card kind of crash. And they were saying how around that time, there was most of the people that they talked to were people trying to make money versus collectors.
Yeah.
And even in the past 5 years or so, even in just the golden age, I feel like, because there was a time where it was like, if you saw cool books, it was like maybe a dealer, but more often than not, it was a collector. And then it started to get more and more, these hustling guys. And, I'm not saying they're bad or anything, but like they were picking stuff up and, kind of flipping it. There's just more, I feel like if a book sells, there's a way higher chance now that it's going into either a dealer or a flipper's collection.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going around, sure.
And what happens if those people leave, or are they going to leave? I don't know. Like, what do you think is going to happen? And then, as COVID, all this stuff hopefully goes away, do you think? I don't know. I'm curious what's going to be going back in.
When you have collectors and speculators or investors or flippers, whatever you want to call it, those are the two groups of people buying the books. And if you have half of the group as collectors and half as the other people, at a certain level, the collectors are out. They're like, I'm not messing with that book now. That's too much.
Yeah.
When they leave, the price comes down because then the guys who are just trying to flip it amongst each other, basically, it doesn't work. There's not a collector base to support that. So when you push it above what collectors are willing to pay for their collection for a PC book, that's it. It hits a wall and it comes back down. And you see that with a lot of these books. But there's a ton of that hustling going on, and I don't have any problem with it, but I'm not trying to get involved in this game of musical chairs on these big books. And it's very pricey and it's very risky. I try to stay where it's safe. Golden age, that's super cool and very rare. Silver age, that's nice condition and highly sought after. I have those ASM books. ASM is never go out of style right now. And there's tons of collectors that legit are working on runs, want ASM books for their collection. And you got to be careful, though, because they're only willing to pay a certain price. You get above that, and it's just flippers amongst each other, and that can't support the price. Some stuff's safer than others. I don't know.
Good point. Good.
This MCU looks cool. I don't
say.
Someone commented, "As the MCU cools, the books will cool." Okay, but again, we're talking about certain books. I mean, MCU does increase the value of a lot of minor key characters. Yes, we all know that. We watched Black Widow. Look at Tales of Suspense, 52, right? I mean, that book was hot. That book is not right now. So there are examples. Tales of Suspense 57, that slowed down. And now there's a Hawkeye show. It's picking up again. How long will the MCU be around? Who knows? Forever and ever? Could be, but either way, it's building a base for the future. I mean, everyone's growing up on this for how many years now? So will it go down? I don't know.
Have you
Well,
seen it? Like what DS was saying, like, because I find that's kind of true in myself. Like, big time collector, but then there's a certain point where I'm just like, that's just too much. Like, I'm not gonna. Maybe if I could trade, I'll trade some of my stuff that I got cheaper for this ridiculous new price of something. But eventually, your trading fodder runs out. Like, I mean, are you seeing collectors kind of reach this point where they're like, I got what I wanted and now I'm done, or I got what I wanted and that's good enough. I'll wait or something for who knows what, or like.
I mean, I don't know if there's a blanket statement for that. I mean, everyone's on their own.
Because you
journey.
must have seen a lot of the same people like over the years. You've been doing this a long time.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have. There's still okay. So if you're a golden age collector, and you're going to let go of some of your non-golden age stuff to get your golden age books, right? You're getting rid of your bronze age books, most likely, or something to get those golden age books, because the bronze age books go up, the golden age books go up. So you're kind of paying for each other. I mean, you can try to keep it all, but if you have not finished your goal in collecting, why would you ever stop? You're not going to stop. None of us are really going to stop, to be honest, I don't think, because there's always something out there for us. We're not, none of us are in that luxurious point where we could buy everything and keep it all. And really, most people aren't. So you're constantly going to see the circulation of cool books that you're going to want. So you're going to have to give up something, and that's okay. That's just what it is. Or if you get lucky, you find a collection and you do the work and you're that person who goes hunting, great. If you're that guy who's going to sit in the back seat and hope for that to pop up in an auction or in a convention that you go to once a year, well, guess what? I mean, you're going to have to pay up. If you're the guy who does the extra work and hunts Craigslist and offer up and garage sales and you put in the sweat equity into your collection, it's going to pay off eventually. And then you'll grow your collection. And then you'll have more pieces to sell and liquidate to get the stuff you really want.
Yeah, the golden age market's a little different because all of the collectors generally will part with books to get other books, and that's sort of the way you do it in golden age. Is you part with some stuff to get other stuff, and the stuff's so rare that when you have an opportunity to get something, you get it, and then you might have to give up something rare. Somebody else wants that, so there's a lot of books moving around, and the prices are more organic because it's a lot of mostly collectors selling stuff to get other stuff. And that's what I do. And it's always nice to make a profit on the selling side, but I'm not a dealer. I just sell to get new stuff. And I like to experience a lot of different books. And in the process, if I can make a profit, that's great. It's also investing for me. But when you get into Bronze Age, some of the Silver Age stuff, there's collectors generally are not giving up their copy. Somebody's working on a 1 to 100 ASM. They're not giving up copy of ASM 15 to get an ASM 20. They're not. You know what I mean? So when you see a flood of all these things on the market in that category, it's a lot of people just buying to flip to sell it to somebody else who's flipping, and that can really drive the price, especially some of the bigger books, up very quickly, like FF5 or X-Men 1. There is a lot of collector demand for those books, but there's also a lot of flippers. In Golden Age, it's not as much. It's more organic. Most of the sales are from collectors who just want to minimize some of their collection or move on to a different category. Yeah. Like I sold all my PCH off and moved into the 40s stuff. It's just my taste changed.
It's not like when I go to Comic Link, I can choose between like 10 different copies of this book in one auction.
No.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
But there's also FOMO as prices rise, collectors will flock to that book to get it before it goes nuts. And everybody going in there for their own reasons drives the price up. You have, FOMO for certain books like, GSX1 or ASM 2 or whatever, and the price starts spiking, and you have speculators see this and they want to get on the action, and you have collectors seeing it and they want to get their copy now before it gets out of reach. And so it's just this massive rush to the book, and then it gets to a certain point, it hits a wall, and that's what happens.
There's one thing.
It's more organic.
There's one thing though that I feel has I don't know if it's still there, but what I used to do is I would buy like beat up copies of books I wanted, and then I would just upgrade them. But I feel like because there used to be a lot of books just stayed on the market because they were like not pretty enough or whatever, like Golden Age, and I don't know if that is still the case. Like I feel like everything sells eventually, like quicker now. Like I would buy like books that no one wanted, and then I would be like, well, and I'll get it, and I'll have it. I'll have a like Cap 3 or whatever. It'd be big books, but it would be like at that point it was like a lot of collectors would be like, it's got a little rust, I'm not touching that or whatever. It wasn't like a super bargain, but it was like there would be just less competition, and I feel like maybe now that's less of a thing. And then also I stopped upgrading because I started to have to pay sales tax, and there was just more fees and shit that I had to deal with. So like, if I had to flip something, now it has to be 25% or something, and it's like I'm not gonna deal with that. I'm not even gonna bother because that's really tough, to try to expect to get 25%, instantly, unless you get some amazing find or something.
It's tough, man. You got to find the avenues to move your books too. It's great to look on GPA, go collect, and be like, oh, that's great. That's the value of my book.
Yeah, right.
It's only worth if someone's willing to pay you for it.
Yeah. Well, people don't realize Golden Age books or any books, especially the bigger they are, the harder they are to move. This shit's not liquid at all, man. Really. I mean, look, unless you want to price stuff really low, but if you want fair market value on even a rare book, it's very rarely you will get that quick. Sometimes I've had books that are quality books at good, decent prices, and they'll sit for a long time. I had a Mask 1 at a very reasonable price that took 6 months to sell. Okay. And I had a lot of people hit me up about it, a lot of offers, a lot of discussions. This book, this stuff's not liquid. I mean, ASMs are liquid pretty much, and some of the high flyer timelies and stuff, that's liquid. But yeah, it's tough to sell books, man. I still see books sitting, and part of the reason is on Golden Age especially, there's a lack of data, and I feel a lot of people are not comfortable putting out money for something unless they have data backing them up. It's like step out of your comfort zone and take a risk on it. A lot of people are hesitant to do that, and I stopped looking at GPA for Golden Age books. Honestly, I just go with what I feel like it's worth based on comparable other stuff in the market. And I don't even look at GPA for Golden Age really. Silver Age I do, just to sort of get a feel of where it's going and where it's on its way up or on its way down.
Do you think availability of low grade books that used to be there 10 years ago is gone? Like Jeff, you're talking about more funds and stuff. I feel like there was a point where you could see a lot of low grade stuff that this is sitting there and it's priced not huge, but like above more than what most collectors would deal with. And then, but now that's gone. Like there's no Cap 1 that's just sitting there that I know of. They're all gone. I mean, right? Like, can you even get a Cap 1 on eBay or something? Like you can't.
Look, I'm sure that stuff always pops up, and there's some astronomical price because somebody wants to be that,
like
that one dude who's got the most expensive book listed or piece of art or.
But I feel like even that is less though. Like there was a time where like it was hard to move like restored like Wonder Woman 1, but now.
Look, there's more people in the hobby, so there's less books out there for us that are nice and great, and they're going into wherever the hell they're going to, black holes of collections, and then investment groups, and then wherever they go, and then they're less on the floor, and then when a new one pops up into the market that's never been seen, that gets exciting and lots of buzz, and then that sells, and then there you go, you missed again, and then you got to catch it on auction, and you get to set the new record price on it. Congratulations. Until the next one.
I think
availability then has gone lower.
With Golden Age, I think we're seeing a lot of of rare big books come to auction, and I think a lot of people who have been holding these books are seeing the prices things are get on a consistent basis, and they're very confident just throwing it out there, starting at $1 on a Heritage or a Comic Book or Collect auction, and you're seeing some real rare Golden Age books just coming up in auctions, like multiples, like coming up in weeklies on Heritage, or just like I think people have a lot of confidence in the prices, and that's a good thing. But you're seeing a lot of this stuff come out on the auction site, where if it's just listed as a bin for the same amount, nobody buys it. But if they throw it on auction, it goes for even more. And yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of confidence in the value of the market right now, and people are throwing all kinds of crazy shit in these auctions, man. And you guys are seeing all this rare, crazy stuff coming up in auctions, like books you would never see.
Yep.
Showing up all the time, like relatively speaking. It's crazy, man.
As a dealer, do you think that like the Heritage and Comic Link and all that, like, do you ever feel that they can command, just because there's this notion of like the buyer has to, if they don't act now, it's gone because someone's going to buy it. It's not like no one's going to bid. But like, do you ever feel like that is just really different than, having the stuff and waiting for the right buyer to come, like?
I mean, there's always going to be those extra special books. There's a lot of books in the Golden Age, okay? And there's some cool stuff. But when you get like a Superman 170 come up, that's going to break out a certain different kind of crowd of people and who are going to want to compete. And we're going to see some crazy numbers for that. A Suspense 3 coming up. That's a special type of book.
6.5, right? 6.5.
Yeah, when we're talking about real special books, and we're not just talking about some Mystery Men comic, which is hella cool. But guess what? That's a different tier. That's a cool book. Okay, we're not just talking about some Matt Baker book, Cinderella Love 25. That's a pretty special book. Okay, that's a special book. But it's not Superman 1 attention. It's not a Suspense 3 attention. But it's a really cool book. Mm-hmm. It'll still get a lot of money, but like we're saying, I mean, you can't guarantee on an auction what you're going to get. We can go back on an auction, and I promise you, Black Cat was not happy with some of those sales, mm-hmm. and then others exceeded. I've sent some books to other auction houses; they did not perform. I wasn't happy with it. Okay, and then you throw on top of the discount that you're going to lose on top of it. So if you've been collecting for 30 years and you have these books, like most people do. Most of these people who've been collecting have this stuff. We think it's ultra rare because we haven't seen it because it's been in these collections for a long time. And these guys paid $5 for these books, $15. They're cashing out. All right. They're like, peace. So they're super excited. They don't care. They'll throw it up at auction because what are they going to do? Go on Instagram for the very first time and have a sale?
Yeah.
They're going to go on. They're going to try to figure out eBay with no account and try to sell their books? Hell no. They're going to do the easiest thing for them. They're going to throw that stuff on auction, all right, and then either put it into some art, put it into another book, put it into their retirement. So, like, we're all going to get there. We will get there. I'll be 55, 60 at some point, a long time from now. And, like, what am I going to do with it all? I might, what I've amassed, might just put it all in auction. I might not. I mean, you inherit a collection. What are you going to do? You just inherited a free collection. What are you going to do with it? You're going to auction it. You're not going to learn about comics. You're not going to have sales. You're going to take it to a comic shop where you're going to get robbed, or you're going to go online and Google auction houses, comics, and sell it. So, I mean,
Jeff, when you go out, I expect to see a one-man, 12-hour marathon show and sell, and you just put up all your stuff. That's what I want to see.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's so much fun. It's the aftermath that sucks.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, the invoicing.
Bro, I don't like to sell more than 10 books at a time, like in a weekend if I do a sale. I don't like to sell more than 10 because that's way too much shipping. So if I sell 10, I'm done.
Dude, we're selling 350 plus books.
Dude, I know, it's insane. It's awesome. I love to watch it.
Oh, my God.
Man, shipping is like, I don't know. Shipping and laundry are like the two worst things.
Laundry.
Laundry sucks.
Worst chores to have to do.
I got a
And
message
shipping
here
at this-
to bring up original art recently. Yeah, original art for covers, splashes of known artists have definitely skyrocketed. But I expected that, and I don't expect it to. It's just another venue. That's all it is. Just another venue that people are putting their money into. Is a cover from Jim Lee worth more than a cover from John Romita Sr. on a Spider-Man? Well, we just saw it's worth 5 times more. You figure it out. They're both one of one, so it's to what everybody wants. I mean, I'm not knocking the guy who bought A or who bought B. It's just it's not the same thing. Original art usually doesn't change condition hands the older it is. Once it's purchased by someone, it's framed, it's kept away out of the sun and handled accordingly. So it's not like, oh, I got this pristine. So condition and age matters, but also desirability. And original art, there is no, it's to the buyer. It's like I said this before. If you don't love it, you're not going to buy it because you're going to get stuck with it. If you love it and you know you're going to love it, that's good. Because speaking from experience, when you buy something, you think, man, that would look really cool. And then you look at it and you're like, is it really? You know, like I remember a famous art collector in New York, not famous, but a well-known art collector, I guess I should say, in New York. He bought some comic art for the first time, and then he looked at it, and he brought up the DS argument the whole time. He goes, "It's just black and white pencils to me, man. It's
I can't do it.
I don't get it." And he totally took a bath on it, bought it, and sold it, and now we wish we had it because you guys all saw it when it was on Heritage, whenever that was there, because that's where it sits. He dropped it off there. Well-known art buyer who has, you know, some pristine items of the paint world, but you know, I kind of like the fact that original art does its thing. It goes up. I like that some of the auction houses have done amazing things for the industry. It's been good, but a market's a market, and there's ebbs and flows, and there's prices to be had in everything. You know, we're literally 5 to 6 points away from Apple being worth $3 trillion. That is pretty amazing, and it's something I've never even thought about in my lifetime. And $3 trillion in value. Think about that. No country outside of the United States is $3 trillion, except for maybe. That's it. No, there isn't.
I don't think any company's reached 3 trillion yet.
No, none has.
Right.
They're about to if it hits 186. 186, 92, I think is the.
These are the people that are reporting. We don't know the Saudi princes and all the oil that's out there, and how much they're actually worth. But
again, this is Apple's going to be worth $3 trillion, and it's in a lifetime where we have that. I think it's okay that a certain book with the graffiti on it went for $200,000 or whatever. I wouldn't have paid for it, but that's my own opinion. But you want to talk about a book coming up that we know is going to go for sale for a lot of money? I bet you, Jeff. I bet you guys are going to be. I'm not even ready to give my number on the Suspense 365. All I'm going to say is $250,000 will be a bargain for whoever buys it.
Ooh, that's a big number. I haven't looked up numbers on the book in a long time, but $250,000, huh?
On a 6.5 Suspense 3, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people have been throwing around like $100,000 on it.
The amount of people that are willing to pay $100,000 will make that go to $200,000.
Well, I think the people who are basing their bids on that 5.0 that sold for $50,000 a couple of years ago are going to be not even close.
Not even.
It's definitely, you know, that 5.0 for $50,000 was a freaking steal for that book.
Absolutely.
You're not going to see that price anyway.
How many copies does that Anna whatever have of that book?
I don't think I've seen her post a Suspense 3.
Right. That might be a
very hard
smart
to find.
move. that might be a smart move to not.
I mean, there are people that are willing to sell. I sell big items to get that one book.
Well, that's good because I hope it goes big. I hope it grabs the headlines. I like the original art is very popular, and some of those pieces are going for a shit ton of money. I really like the comic market, the original art market, getting big enough that it draws attention in the headlines of all markets, and especially as an art market. When comics or comic original art starts being categorized in as an art market, that's where we can reach the next level. Maybe that's part of what's happening, because the fine art market is a much grander scale of collecting and of a market. It's been around a lot longer. It has way more money in it. And if you can get some association as a fine art market to some of this stuff, the original art and some of the golden age cover stuff, some of these rare books, there's the sky's the limit for this stuff, because if it starts falling into an art market, starts being categorized as fine art, you've got a whole other slew of money and collectors and exposure coming in, because it's not just comic books anymore. You know what I mean? I see a lot of people buying golden age books, and they're buying art. And some of these prices, like that Phantom Lady, for what was it, $450,000, about $500,000? Who buys that? Like, who buys that for $500,000? I mean, that person probably owns a Manet too, or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
I feel like there's.
It's a great point. And
It's just a cover. I mean, that's just a cover. It's just a piece of art. So I don't know, man. I think there's a lot more room to grow. You just got to be careful where you put your money, because, like you said, there's ebbs and flows.
Right. I mean, we all know that Frazetta's original piece sold for quite a bit of money, several millions of dollars, and that kind of. And he's a pure crossover. I mean, he really is. He's Frazetta.
But that's nothing compared to the fine art market.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm on the market. I've been shopping for an Albert Durr, for a while, and I missed out on one last year. But Albert Durr is a Renaissance artist, a Middle Ages sort of artist, and he carved his art into wooden boards, basically, and then they rolled ink over that, and he did pressings. And after each series of pressings, the wood degrades little by little until it's really not usable anymore. So like a first pressing of an Albert Durr would be worth more than like a second or a third or something. The golden age comic prices have exceeded the price of Albert Durr. There was one with like the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse level Albert Durr original work. And that thing only went for like 25 to 30 grand. You see what I'm saying? That's nothing for comic books these days. So it's already surpassed some real legit fine art. It's
well,
way
I was
back
talking more like
stuff already.
More like 50s, like modern art and that kind of stuff.
I mean, I don't know how much Jackson Pollock sell for, or like a Warhol would be expensive, but there's a lot of stuff in fine art that's not, millions of dollars, and comics are surpassing a lot of that already, and people just don't know because they're not comparing the two. But I got to think some of the people in the art market are taking notice of what's going on in the comics and seeing for the first time some of this stuff is legit, awesome, unique, rare art. I hope that's what's going on. I don't know.
Well, I think the record of Jackson Pollock, who was a 50s artist, is around 60 million.
Yeah, I mean, that's pricey stuff.
Yeah.
That's pricey stuff.
Yeah.
That's a spicy people.
I mean, it was probably a Pollock collector bought that TMNT one. You know what I mean?
That looked like a Pollock.
Million. He got a freaking
Just
discount.
splatter painted it.
That
The
looked like
Eastman
something
Pollock
he
homage.
made a mistake on. Yeah. I mean, no. I mean, again, we're bashing a $200,000 investment because we can. Because we don't. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think I saw that when it broke 150. I said, "This is just, what are you doing?" First of all, I personally don't think that book is worth. I mean, I thought the last sale was $9.90. I never heard of this 200 some odd thousand Comic Connect price. I don't know. Vince, don't yell at me again, and when you see me at a con or something. But
I mean, $200,000 though, that buys a freaking house, and somebody bought a book from 1984. You know what I mean? Like,
The person who spent $200,000 is not buying a house in that neighborhood.
Yeah, they don't have a $200,000 house. You're right.
He's calling the cops. if
Right.
you're-
He's not buying a. He's buying a house for his comic. Okay, that's what this guy's doing.
Um,
You know.
Yeah, but I mean, who's buying when people are laying out $200,000 for a book from the '80s and $500,000 for a Phantom Lady cover by Matt Baker? I mean, those are ballers that are laying out money for that stuff. Those are people with real finances behind them, and if they are starting to put money into these comics, then I feel like, you know, they have their little get-togethers and their country club stuff, and they're like, "What did you do this weekend, Bob?" "Oh, I bought a piece of art." "Oh, did you get another Pollock?" "No, check this out." He shows you the comic book and he talks about the market, and then that guy's like, "Hey, where did you get that? Let me check it out." And then you get more interest and more money, and like I was just talking to my broker down the street, and he's recommending this, and I think there's a lot of exposure and a lot of people coming in from other areas, and that's what we're seeing, some of that.
yeah, I mean, we've seen it. It was a crazy year this year. Let's be honest. We saw video games go for ridiculous prices. We see record-setting things from in comics. We kind of saw what I like to call, and I'm not comparing it, a Beanie Baby like boom on things that made you go, what? You know, I call it the Beanie Baby philosophy, because whether or not it's a comic book we know comic books, the fact that we saw ASM 300s go for what they were this year, we all tilted our head like a dog. We were, okay. But at the same, I mean, we've seen 1.5s of books go for more than that. We saw cover books. We saw pieces of a book in a Ziploc bag.
Yeah, we did see that.
Okay.
With the staple.
With a staple.
Yeah, staple.
One with a staple and then a second one without a staple.
The staple was
sorry.
not removed.
There's two.
So it might have been just the staple, but we've got people, you know, we've got a crazy year going on right now. And I got to think that the future people are going to be, you know, just let's see what the next thing brings. I mean, the next thing you know, that might be worth more money.
Oh, I know what it is already.
I mean, we saw dead
VHS.
cards
VHS.
go for a ton of money.
They're pushing VHS, man. They're pushing VHS tapes right now.
Right now. So
Big time.
Here's my view. Anything that's rare and is good to look at, you know, is badass to look at and is rare, is going to be collectible.
I'll give you an example of what just sold too. Just so you guys
Star
know.
Wars, right? Isn't that
Star Wars on golden.com
Yeah.
sold for Star Wars. Yeah, New Hope sold for $54,000.
Yeah.
the VHS,
Yeah, sealed
VHS.
VHS, graded by the CGC.
not one of them modern ones, the original version.
The original, the modern ones did sell as well.
Where Han
Far-
shoots Greedo never gets a shot off.
what you said. The original,
Yeah, first
So,
VHS
54.
release. Yeah, 50
Yeah.
grand.
54 grand. Don't cheat it.
54.
Yeah, John, I brought up the Frazetta Erie, Egyptian queen. I wonder what sacrifice would go for.
That was 5 million. Oh, there it is, 5 million.
Has that surpassed the comic? Like, what's the highest comic book sale? 3 million?
The comic, yeah, 3.2, right? It was Action
Okay.
1.
It was
Yeah,
an action
4.4.
one, unless you count the, what was it, a Batman one that Comic Connect sold.
And the highest,
What
like,
did that
not, I mean, that Egyptian
3.5.
queen is not
They
really
said.
comic.
But it was a private sale, they said.
It's not really
Well,
comic, though, that Frazetta. I don't
It's not a
feel.
comic, it's a painting, so that would be in the fine art category.
Mhm.
But there's so much crossover. You see what I mean? Like Frazetta has crossover. He does more for the comic market than people realize because he doesn't have a lot of comics, but it draws people into some, like a Vampirella 1 I bid on tonight, a 9.0. It went for $4,000 for a
My
9.0.
God.
And that's like a big Frazetta piece. The Famous Funnies run, that's quality stuff, and that stuff's been
Skyrocketing.
way up. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I love the fact that it's moving. It's hard for me because I really wanted a piece. You know,
But
but
Well,
yeah,
here's-
Frazetta paintings.
Here's
that's
the
fine.
record for art.
Wasn't that the poster in the Ghostbusters too?
that would be
Adjusted for some inflation. They say $486 million.
Who is it?
Good
Da
Lord.
Vinci.
Da Vinci.
Oh, Da Vinci.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I'm telling you, like, the art world is take notice of comic books. And look, if you buy something that's super cool and unique and rare, I mean, I don't feel like you can go wrong. The video games, they've been crashing hard lately, but they don't have the rarity, and
No.
they
Tulips.
a lot of them aren't super cool to look at. They're cool and they're sentimental and nostalgic, but they're not rare. And I don't have a lot of confidence in that market. But a rare GA book like a Suspense 3, I mean, that is a masterful work of art by a pretty well-known artist.
Warhol art. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about crazy here. Okay, we just saw a painting sell for $460 million.
Yeah.
Okay, we're talking about, $200,000 for Turtles 1, and thinking that's crazy. $460,000 for a small ass painting of the movie poster from Ghostbusters 2, and it's like, okay, that should put in perspective. This is money that people have that you're just throwing into stuff, and I'm not saying they're just recklessly throwing into it, but they're buying stuff they like or cool, to them, or what they're being told to maybe put money into. And diversify, because they have to do something with their money. They can't leave in the bank. They're not making anything on their money in the bank. All right, and they don't want to.
There's no interest anywhere.
So, comics.
What would you consider, like, the first major boom of anything is known as.
That's a pretty nice one, though, I have to say.
The tulips.
I wouldn't pay more than $150 million for that.
What is that, O'Keefe or something?
Gustav Klimt.
Oh, Klimt, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
definitely.
not a fan of this stuff.
When something new happens and something sets records, i.e. the video game, that something came out and all of a sudden you got an influx of Castlevanias and a bunch of other shit, right? The same thing happens is going to happen with the VHS, where all of a sudden, if you never shut down your Blockbuster video, you're a billionaire. But that'll die out too. What I think the best thing about comics is, and this is just my thing, is it has sustained. And even the crash of 93, which people always go back to, was only a crash of stuff that should have crashed. It came back down to reality. It corrected itself. Corrections are important because it corrected itself. We might be in a slight correction on the Silver Age right now. Does it mean that it's a bad time to buy? No, that's when you do buy. What should you buy? Whatever you fucking want. It's your money. Sorry, that's the truth. It's the same thing with, like my thing is what's the next? Somebody's going to find something else in comics or something that's comic related or something that's related to what we love, and that will either drive books up, or a book will drive the next part up. And that I expect something to happen where something bizarre someone pays a lot of money for happens every 3 to 4 months right now, whether it be a Ziploc bag with a staple and a couple of shards of paper in there, or it's a graffiti book with all those on there. I mean, something is going to happen where we're going to be even more and it's going to be even more shocking. And I think it's good for the market. I actually think it's good because it kind of keeps the comic market always is what it is. I mean, it's very high right now, but it's compared to everything else that's high. What would you rather have? Would you rather have a Legend of Zelda? Or would you rather have an AF-15? Well, they're both
but I'll tell you, I don't have a lot of confidence in the VHS market or the video game market, and I'll tell you why. And this is from somebody who doesn't collect either one, but this is reason why. Part of the reason why. You can get these games and these VHS tapes. They're not hard to find. You can go on eBay and easily find a Star Wars VHS. They're around. You can't find one with a plastic cellophane on it. So who fucking cares? You know what I mean? Like, are you buying the plastic cellophane or are you buying the item? Like, the item is out there and it's not rare. These people paying these massive amounts of money because it's never been opened, I don't see in the long run that making any difference, honestly. A comic book is a comic book, and if you have a Cap 1 raw, it's going to sell as good as a Cap 1 slabbed. If somebody has to look at it at a con, if you look at a Cap 1 in person, it's raw or slabbed. It's not going to matter. But a Super Mario Brothers 3 with cellophane on it or without, with a hang tab or not, Like, what's the difference? I mean, in the long run, I don't see that making the big difference that it's making right now. It just doesn't make
That's
sense.
the organic, that's the lack of organic value, right?
That's
Well,
what
I
I
mean-
think, yes.
there's kind of a difference to that, because there is. I get why the plastic. That's like saying, if you had a toy out of package, all right, does that mean it should be worth just as much in package? I mean, that's
I
part of
don't
the
think so,
packaging. That's packaging.
The packaging has art on it, and it's like there's more to the packaging. The packaging for a Star Wars toy is like a frame for the toy, and it's got art on it, and it's like a cardboard piece of art, and it's framed. It's like a display case.
Yeah,
it's
but
like
this
the original
would still
display case.
sell.
I get that.
This would still sell because it's just cool. It's got a like innate, whatever you call it, value to it, versus a Super Mario NES cartridge that there's millions of. You could like walk on them.
Well, look, I'll give you this: a sealed should go for a little more because yes, it's never been opened. But do you see the difference? You
But not that much.
You can buy a Super Mario 3 unsealed, complete in box, in good shape on eBay for $75. You get a 9/8 sealed one; it's like hundreds of thousands of dollars. There's a disconnect there. I'm not saying it shouldn't be worth more, but you can get one on eBay for $75. You know how I know? Because I just checked yesterday. $75, you get a Super Mario 3.
But that just speaks to the rarity of it.
You mean
Potentially sealed
in the box or without the box?
Yeah, I mean with the box and everything, $75. But
I've got a
it's
whole stack
rare.
of Nintendo games down there. I am with the
But
system ready to go.
I will say this: I think if you have if anybody here listening, take this to heart. I think it's super important. If you know someone with sealed movies, get there. Ride this train. This train is just the beginning. These will skyrocket more. You have Heritage's backing, and whatever Heritage backs right now
Are
goes
they
up.
grading them? Is there a grading service?
I don't know who's grading them, but I
There is a
know
grading before,
I know they're being pushed. So if they're pushing them, and you have someone grandpappy, all right, some uncle who's got
Blockbuster.
still sealed. Well, Blockbuster would open their movies, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So if you get there right now, and then you call me and sell them to me.
Hey, there's that place in Pike's Place Market, Jeff. You should check them out. They have piles of VHS tapes.
Do it during the day.
The whole sealed nature of VHS versus the unsealed nature, there's such a discrepancy. I think it should go for a little more. It is more rare to find, but it's not like the rarity of having a toy that's unopened, because that's like in an original display that has its own merits. Like, I think here's the difference. If you had the original Star Wars toy, but instead of having the toy, you just had the original package, I bet you could sell that. Somebody would want just the backing if it was just opened and the toy taken out, and you had the empty package.
I bought some.
That's worth money. If you take the cellophane off of Super Mario 3 and try to sell the cellophane, nobody will buy it. Okay, that's what I'm saying. The cellophane does not.
But they would buy the box. But yeah, you're right.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, of course they'd buy the box, right? You can buy the box already without the cellophane on it. It's rare. It should be worth a little more, but the discrepancy is massive, and that I just don't feel is natural.
Well, I think it's like, so there's so many Super Mario Brothers out there, right? So it's kind of like Amazing Spider-Man 300, about the same maybe. But the difference in price between the raw, crappy version of Amazing Spider-Man 300 with the 9.8 or maybe even a 10, it would never get to like $1 million.
No, that's what I'm saying.
It would never get to $1 million. ASM 300 and a 10? You're out of your freaking mind.
It will?
Eventually.
Is there a 10? No, right?
Absolutely. There's probably got to be multiple 10s. You don't think that book will get to $1 million at some point? You said never, ever.
Well,
in 20 years.
I guess I can't say never, but
that's right.
Well, we can
take that back.
Take that back, you blasphemer.
Dejavic's 9.8s are going for 35 to 40. So if you have a Dejavic and a 10.0, that's going to be
I saw one
100,000.
sold tonight on Comic Link, a 9.8, the UF4 variant.
Okay, what'd it go for?
$30,000.
$30,000. Okay.
Yeah.
And a 10?
No, it was a 9.
150 grand, 200 grand. Potentially
Yeah,
only
that's
10.
another thing. Like, I get that that's rare. I mean, I don't have a problem with that price really based on everything else. But just maybe this is just me personally, but why pay that much more for the variant when you can get the same exact book for like $2,500?
Really? Why would you buy a $480 million painting? Like, because you could.
Well, yeah, but
Well, that's exactly, yeah. Somebody, because I collect rare first edition books if I can find them. And there's a Hemingway book that I have always wanted to have a first edition of. Somebody asked me, why would you buy that for that money? I said, if you told me now I could have sold my ASM 300 for that book, I would have shit my pants and punched you in the face. Any of it.
Ooh, there's no 10s. ASM 300.
That price hasn't moved in 10 years on the Hemingway.
Interesting.
And the price of an ASM 300 in 10 years.
I'm sorry.
It's $55. You know,
how could there not be a 10 ASM 300? How many of those have been graded? Like, I don't understand.
Well, I'm looking at the census. So this is just blue labels. The signature series actually has a lot too, so I'll include that. So between the Universal and the signature series, there are 26,600 that have been graded.
There's a few more. That's only CPC.
So out of 26,000, there are 10 9.9s. And they're all universal. There are no signatures.
That makes no sense. Out of all those odds, you're telling me that 9.9 looks better than 26,000 other 9.8s?
But isn't there a 10 of a X-Men?
No, there's not 26,000 9.8s, right?
There's 26,000 total that have been graded.
That's better. That's smart. Good. Thank you for correcting that.
So let me tell you the numbers.
How many 9.8s?
All right, so 9.8s, there are, between Universal and Signature Series, there are 1,500.
Okay.
Wow.
Still.
1,500. But there's 43 9.6s. And
no 9.9, 10 9.9s and no 10s.
No 10s. Well, it's like UF4. If you look at UF4, there's like thousands of 9.8s. There's no 9.9s. Not one is having a 9.9. But all those 9.8s, there's not a single 9.9 of a UF4. It's crazy.
So there you go. $1 million for a 10. Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's freaking possible.
I mean, there is a 10 X-Men 266. Is there not?
Eventually. I don't know.
Gambit?
Heritage is having this though, and that original art is pretty awesome.
The sound issue.
It's crazy. Yeah. There are 3 9.9s for a shock suspense story.
You gonna get this, Jeff?
Right.
Oh, I will be outbid, and I know exactly by who. So no, I will not. I just bought some art though. If you guys want to see, I'm pretty happy about it.
That stuff behind you, even I haven't seen. It looks pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, there's some cool stuff.
What is that painting with the guy with the red thing on his chest?
Red thing on his chest.
Right behind.
Oh, you. That's from JD. No.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So it's a cool painting.
Yeah, it's
so
good. It's cute.
I dig it. Here's what I got. I got this guy.
Nice.
Hang on, you're going on the big screen.
Oh, okay.
Is that awesome. I have a mouse for the wrong computer. Hang on.
Tell us what all these are too.
Well, this is Marvel Comics Presents 2. Classic Wolverine. You know, it isn't by a major artist, so I was able to get it for reasonable. And I figured this was my one chance and opportunity. And then it came with the back cover as well, front and back. So that's kind of what I jumped into. I wanted something classic. There's no way I'm going to get a Barry Windsor Smith.
Yeah.
Good luck crazy Frank Miller. You know, it's like, this is it. I remember this book as a kid. I'm getting it. This is the Null piece from JD. This is the Shang-Chi piece. This is a Fantastic Four Chronicles.
Oh, that's
one shot.
Yeah.
Painted by John Byrne.
Yep.
And that's from a Hulk magazine. Peach Momoko Turtles. I think it was one of our exclusives, and then some other stuff all around here. Oh, and then up here is that $480 million painting. Over here is the Egyptian Queen. You see the Egyptian Queen? Just right there.
Over there.
Sorry, my framing's a little poor right
now. There was a good.
What's the Web of Death thing? Web of Darkness.
Oh, it's some Shang-Chi.
Oh, cool.
Page 1. Was it Master of Kung Fu? Sorry, number 37. It's Keith Pollard piece.
That's
Oh,
nice.
I thought it was
Page 1.
Milgram. That looks really good.
Yeah,
That's
it
well
sucks.
done, Yeah.
It's good to an extent. And there's a couple like creatures here that just look off. In fact, I'm going to show you how awful they look.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things. Just keep showing the front of it. Yeah.
Yeah, look at those. I mean,
Oh,
what-
it is the title splash. That's great.
What is this creature here? Just this person. I mean, like, what is that? That's just ugly.
What's that hair?
Terrible.
That's crazy.
This thing's weird. I don't know.
It makes up for it with all the ninjas on the other side.
Yeah, the
though.
ninjas are on the other side. That's
And you got the Foot Clan there.
you got Fu Manchu there. Yeah, that's good.
Oh yeah, that's super cool.
Maybe Medusa.
I love title splashes. That's my next thing I'm looking for. Is it
Yeah.
good? I have back pages, last pages. I've got cover. I don't have a title splash of anything.
Yeah, I don't even know how I got that at this point.
Anyway,
I'm into movie posters. I'm gonna start getting into movie posters because
There you go.
I'm really digging
yeah.
more on those.
Lewis has got some good ones. He's going to have to show those off one day.
Yeah, he showed me some of them, and I'll tell you, I've been looking at the heritage auctions and watched them for a little bit, and I might pull the trigger on some of these movie posters. Yeah, I'll show you one if you want to see it. It's probably one I'm not going to go after, but just an example of how awesome and cool these things are. Let me show you this one. I don't know how much this will go for, but I'm not going to buy it, so happy to show it.
Did you see his recent mask? Hack. There we go.
So
You're
you
still
can
on.
share that.
Oh, there you go.
Yep,
Oh, that's
I've
cool.
seen that. Okay, there.
This is
There
Ralph McQuarrie, who's
I was going to say that's the Macquarie one, right?
Yeah, and this is the poster for the radio broadcast. NPR did a series of broadcasts where they basically read the story over the radio. And this was the poster that they did. But it's a super cool poster, Ralph McQuarrie piece of Yoda on like Dagobah with all these creatures. And the colors are awesome. It's just such a unique Star Wars poster.
Have you ever
And
seen the?
you won't find this anywhere else other than if you go into the movie poster stuff. And it's just a super cool piece.
Mhm.
Have you ever seen the Boris Vallejo's Empire Strikes Back stuff?
Mm-mm.
His posters.
No.
You gotta find those. I think they were for a re-release, but they were. Yeah, I'll show you.
Whoops. Yeah, I mean, look at the detail on this thing. Really cool. Get R2 coming out of it. Like, look at this little house in the back with the light. How cool is this? Right?
So, I'll show you the Boris Vallejo. You're gonna want to see this. I love that,
The painting is great. I love that too.
and that's
Color.
Ralph
Yeah,
McQuarrie,
it is.
the guy who did a lot of who did all the concept art. So
Yeah, so anyway. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to get into this stuff. Stuff's cool.
get ready.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Yep, that was from '80. He also did this one.
Oh, yeah, real good.
He did.
These are Vallejo stuff?
Yep, look at this one.
Oh, yeah, the Tauntaun.
Yep. And then he did the Dagobah. Hang on, it'll come down.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Yeah. I mean, there are some prints of these that are available. He did them, I think it was for Coca-Cola. If you bought a certain amount of Coca-Cola in 1980 or 81, you got a poster with it, and Boris did all of them.
Well, I have an unopened Coke can from 1984, the Michael Jackson one.
And here's the other
Oh, wow.
Dagobah one, which I thought was really good.
Would you drink it, DS?
Yeah, I already drank it. I put the can in recycling.
Nice.
No, I mean, well, there's a soda that I know that got discontinued in the 80s, and
Yeah,
I want
Jolt.
to taste it
Which
so
one?
bad. But I
Jolt?
think it might not be good for me to do that.
I used to drink Jolt all the time. That shit was awesome, man. It's like Coke
It
in a
was
can.
good.
Jeff, did you see the old Starlin
Starlin?
sketch I got? Yeah.
No, that is amazing.
From the
the
Warlock sketch, huh?
From 75,
From the 70s.
70, it's got to be from like 75 to like 77.
I freaking love that. That is so cool.
That is amazing.
I love Warlock, and I don't know.
I can see Lou Fine drawing it just like that. When I look at it, I was like, that's exactly how Lou Fine would draw it.
And
It's so
I
good.
haven't showed anyone this. If you want to put me on big screen yet,
Sure.
Oh, first appearance coming up.
so
Spoiler alert.
I'm all into the Japanese stuff, and these are some of the 50s Japanese, like samurai kind of stuff, comics. Recently, I was able to get some OG art.
No way. That's cool. Is that Frank Miller? Is that Rodin?
From the 50s. So it's essentially golden age artwork.
It is.
That's amazing. That's
Pretty
beautiful. That is really nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mitch, you need to. Are you going to bid on that Meiji period comic book on Heritage?
I haven't seen that.
So there's a comic book on Heritage. I'll share my screen again. You guys should check this out. This is cool. So I made the mistake of saying that I thought manga was the oldest comic book form, and it was, from whatever. And apparently it goes way further back than I thought. So
Here it comes.
I thought that American comic books predated manga, but I was wrong because manga goes way back. So here's a comic book from the 1880s.
1880s.
1880s comic book from Japan. Like, there's the back cover. There's the interior. They only give one interior shot.
I'd have to see more than that to bid on it, but
well, it's, what do they say? An astonishing precursor to the artistic medium manga. They had one other one sold recently. Let me see if they have.
Is that a saying on the cover? No.
I mean, if CGC ever got into that stuff, there would be a big market. Like, because even now the Dragon Ball Z first appearance goes for a nice one, goes for 1,000, but that's nothing compared to Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, check this one out. This one sold for 13,000 earlier this year.
Wow,
That's super cool. Wow.
See what I mean? There's like a double page splash.
Mm.
There's the back cover.
yeah.
Pages, what is that? White pages, right? This is probably almost a full spine split held on by a single piece of string. So I don't know how you grade this, but I mean, look at the page quality on this, man.
Yeah, but a chance on something like that, that's a lot to me, but to Jim Halperin or whoever, 13,000
Well, for
is like a
13,000,
freaking
I mean,
penny.
this is less than an ASM 300.
Yeah, I know. It's like
I
a
mean,
freaking
you know what I mean?
penny.
It's freaking insane. This thing is so cool. This is the one I already sold. So there's one other one coming up. I'm watching it, but I'm not going to spend 13 grand on it. But, that's a super cool item, man. So anyway, that's how far back comic form type stuff goes. I mean, clearly this is comic-ish. I mean, you got illustrations with writing right in there, and it's in a booklet form on paper. It's cool, right? This is from 1882.
They need to get CGC on that.
10 double-sided pages plus the cover. It's bound together.
You got a lot of these awesome ones.
Yeah, so.
And
anyway.
believe me, this stuff is just as hard as your this. Easily just the same. Not in value, but in hunt, if you want the hunt, it's the same.
Yeah, it's cool stuff. The only thing that would hold the manga back, the original stuff in this country, is that nobody can understand it. If you open it up, you can't read it. But the artwork is very unique and very well done. So definitely I see a market for it.
I can understand.
The period thing is like a bridge sort of between the two.
It's a killer.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Anyway, a lot of cool stuff out there, right?
There you go.
A lot of good stuff to spend your money on.
Do you think the market's going to change once we go back to normal? People are going to have less time to even watch this kind of crap.
No, people watch everything.
It's pretty normal by me, man. I mean, I don't know. What do you mean back?
I think.
Well,
I think pandemic was great for people to get into collectibles. I mean, it exploded for a reason. I think people just had, like I've always said, I've talked to many people, they just have more time to do stuff. more time to dive into things they wanted to dive into and like. So I think we have another year of pandemic, strong again. It'll be just as great. If things loosen up and people go do other stuff, whenever the hell that's going to be, I don't see that anytime soon, especially state to state, really, if you think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, some states will probably be more free than others. I'm sure Florida's pretty open still, and I'm in Washington. Like, I don't know what to say. They're super strict here. Texas, I'm sure, is loose, and I don't know. So
we're pretty loose here. We never locked down anyway.
Yeah, we're loose where I'm at.
Well, Emerald City would have been at least double that, right?
Well, I'll tell you, I feel bad for the dealers and the people who like to go to cons and the whole con experience and all the people involved in it on all sides, because cons are getting crushed by this never-ending pandemic crap. Like what Jeff was saying about the one he just went to, most people don't want to have to deal with all that crap to go to a con. And, there are people who don't want to wear masks all day long anyway, including me, and they're just not going to go. And that's why you're seeing a lot more claim sales. And those claim sales on Instagram started with the pandemic. I mean, there was a couple here and there, but they blew up, and they've developed into a legit platform now. And they're on almost every night, and there's quality stuff. But, I mean, people like cons, and dealers make a lot of money. Some of these dealers make bulk of their money going to cons, and they don't have an online presence on Instagram, and it's just killing them, man. And all these people that want to go, and myself included, I only go to 2 cons, and I haven't been to either of them in going on 3 years now. So hopefully it ends soon. I can see the con market should pick back up, hopefully, after it ends. Because, I mean, dealers and people who like to go to cons, that's a major part of the comic hobby.
Yeah, did you go to more cons, Jeff?
I did, but I know SDCC was the week before Emerald City, or 2 weeks. It was at Thanksgiving. So I heard that was pretty bad. But from what I understand, SDCC had to have their con. They had to, otherwise something was going to happen where they lose
insurance. The insurance made because they're open. If you did not have a con, you would lose the insurance money you had. That you have as against it, you lose it completely. You have to, whatever, you can't take any losses whatsoever.
Yeah, and I think with their space too, they kind of had to do it. Otherwise, they were going to lose something to the space as well. I'm not sure.
And I'll tell you something else I heard at the one that you were just at, Jeff, that there were so many people outside trying to get in, but it took them all weekend to read the terms and conditions. They never made it to the con floor. By the time they got 3/4 of the way through, the con was done for the weekend. And it's my favorite picture ever, dude. I love it. This is
I'm telling you, if you were 5 feet tall, you wouldn't be able to read the top lines.
That's a piece of modern art right there.
Is it real though? Like, is this really writing on? Is this like a legit?
It is. I started to read it. I was like, I'm out of here. This is ridiculous.
It's insane, man.
Guys,
I gotta bounce. I gotta get the kids to bed.
Baltimore wasn't bad. It was actually pretty well done. So, but just a different place. I know Chicago's this weekend, C2E2. I know Lewis is going on Saturday.
Well, I used to, before I knew better, I would have thought, since there's less people going, you're going to get better deals. But it sounds like from the people who go that there's not really any deals.
I tried to negotiate a guy, and he let $300 get between us on a $5,000 deal. He let $300 get, but I was like, I can get that book somewhere else. I'll wait. But on spite, I pulled a Larry David. I did a spite. I was like, there's no way I'm not buying it from you because of pure spite. And then I don't accept PayPal. I don't accept PayPal.
I can agree with that.
So I don't take credit cards. I only take cash or check, and I don't take PayPal. I'm like, what do you mean you don't take PayPal?
Come on.
Well, people don't like to take PayPal because they don't want to pay 3%, and PayPal's cracking down on goods and service on friends and family. So people want to use Cash App and Venmo and all this other stuff. And but PayPal's worth the 3%, in my opinion. I don't mind paying the 3%.
Exactly.
Worth it. I mean, you got to pay to use it. PayPal's not running a charity, man. They're running a business.
They certainly are.
Dude, DS, you're like smart person. Where
Well,
you
thanks.
know, like a lot of we've talked about it. Like a sale is a sale. Like why would you let hold out for two? You move the stuff fast, and it
Yeah.
makes more and more and more. Like it, you don't just.
I mean, 3%. Look, I know people want to have to not pay any fees ever. Okay, and if you sell $1,000 book and you use goods and services, your fee is $30. So if that's such a big deal to you, sell it for $10 and $1,030. You know what I mean? Or sell it for $1,100, or just eat the $30. Like it's a good, smooth, easy transition and get the shit done. Like for $30. Think of it this way: if somebody made an offer on a book that you had listed for $1,000, and they're like, "I'll give you $970," what would you say? You would say yes. Everybody would say yes to that offer. Okay, same thing. Just sell the book and pay the 3%, and move on with your life. And don't try to skirt the rules and get in trouble and get booted off PayPal and have them hold your money. Just pay the 3%, and you have an excellent platform that more and more people are using every day, and it's well worth it. I mean, it's 3%. I mean, I don't see the problem with it. And if you're selling a $100 book, it's $3. So just charge an extra $3 on your just shipping or something. I don't know. I mean, or it's not that big of a deal for 3%. I feel like, if you sell into an auction, you pay 10% at Comic Link or 20% at Heritage or 13% on eBay. Those are big chunks. You sell a $10,000 book on Comic Link, they keep $1,000. You sell a $10,000 book over PayPal, they keep $300. It's not that big of a deal. So I feel like it's worth it, and you can adjust your prices and shipping and all that stuff accordingly if you really are worried about it, and then it's not a big deal. But people don't want to pay fees. They want to use services and not pay for them. They want to use PayPal. They want PayPal to run a multi-billion-dollar corporation and provide the platform, and they don't want to contribute to it and pay under the rules. And that's not PayPal's fault. So people want to use Venmo and Cash App. That's fine. I don't have a problem with any of it. I like PayPal. I tell everyone, pay me goods and services. And yeah, if somebody wants to write a check, that's cool too. It takes a little longer to mail it. Yeah, whatever. But PayPal has buyer protection. It's an easy platform. They have a QR code. And if you sell something in person at a con or something, you can use PayPal. You have your own personalized QR code. You can type in the info, and the person scans it, and it brings up their PayPal with the info you put in, and they click pay. And it's paid in person. They just scan your QR code. It's super convenient. It links right to your bank. The money goes back and forth quick. I think it's great, man.
Is that safe for the seller?
Yeah. Here's a good PayPal tip. If you are selling in person, you have to do the scan on the QR code to protect yourself.
Yeah, because I heard, and this was before they had that.
Payment, if you do like your regular online where you're shipping it to somebody, if you do that in person, you're not protected because you didn't ship it, and you won't be able to prove that you ever shipped it. You have to do the QR in-person scan.
That's cool.
Yeah. But I have mine saved somewhere. But, look, I also bought this, which I haven't used yet because I haven't been to a con, but I got my Square reader to take credit card payments or debit cards. It's all set up. It's ready to go. And my account's already hooked up. I just put it back in the box, and I haven't been to a con. But I'll take credit card payments. And guess what? They take 3%.
Yeah, of course they do. Yeah.
So if you use Square, they take 3%. Or it's like 2.75 or something. But I mean, yeah, I feel like it's worth it for all these platforms.
Well, we're getting late. We've been on for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Welcome to our Thursday night, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for joining us here. Thank you for being a friend. Anybody want to just shout out? This is going to be our new night, so everybody can.
Until DS says he has to work on Thursdays.
Yeah.
No, Thursdays should be good for a while, man. We're good. I don't have anything to shout out. I'm just going to hold this book up while we leave.
Yep, we're going to end it with a PEP 24.
PEP 34.
34, right. I got to remember that. All right, everybody. Have a good one. Make sure I get the right one. I don't want the scary one. We have a scary one.
Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again.